So, what do you guys think about Mortal Kombat 1? Oh gosh, what happened?
My sword fell and hit me in the crotch.
Oh! Ooh! Took battle damage. Ooh!
It's fitting that things just go wrong when I'm dressed as Kung Lao. Let's just put it that way.
Oh, man, dude.
Careful, he's gonna snap your neck right behind you.
I already took it.
We're gonna rank all the Mortal Kombat story modes.
Oh god.
That's gonna be our fun, like, sort of finale, like, topic that I think would be kind of fun to do.
Okay.
You
yeah,
forgot.
I mean, why not?
I'd rather do a Q&A, to be honest.
To be fair, the Avatar fighting game looks mixed, you know. I was excited at first, but the more gameplay that gets revealed, I'm like, some of these animations look like booty cheeks. Like Aang flying around with the freaking kite looks terrible, but
It's a smaller budgeted fighting game. It reminds me of, like, the pony fighting game.
Pokken?
You know that My Little Pony fight? No, the My Little Pony fighting game. You know what I
See,
mean?
Oh,
That's
that was made
another
by
good
fans,
example
but yeah.
of the thing. That it was a My Little Pony fighting game, and then Hasbro said, no, you can't do that. So they just made their own thing.
Yeah, it's
so,
like their OCs and stuff.
So basically, I feel like the way you should do it is if you're inspired to make something based on something else, make your own thing that's similar instead, and then later on you can go, hey, we did this thing, it's similar to your thing, can we collaborate?
Yeah.
But don't be too similar, or they'll go, yeah, I ban him.
Do you guys know about Bloodborne Kart?
Yes.
Yeah, so Bloodborne Kart was a fan game that was made for a while. Sony was like, no, and they're like, okay, Nightmare Kart. Every character has like a different design now, even though they're clearly based off of like certain characters in Bloodborne and stuff like that. They changed it really fast, so it was pretty impressive.
Actually, here's an example. Dead by Daylight. They had this guy who was like, oh, it's this dude with a chainsaw, this backwater hillbilly with a chainsaw. Wow, what a great original character. I wonder where they got that idea from. And later they collaborated with Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And from what I hear, it's actually really funny because apparently Leatherface just isn't as good as the other guy.
Oh, that's funny.
But, so it's like you can get cases where you make something that's technically derivative and then get to work with the proper thing later. So don't bank on that happening because most people don't get to do that. So it's best to try and just make your own thing. It really is.
It's like when Fortnite added the Reaper, but then eventually they added John Wick.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think one of the coolest examples actually is that stop motion fighting game with the action figures.
Oh, I know about that. Yeah.
Yeah, the indie one, because those are all blatant, like obvious parodies. Like there's clearly a Skeletor and like a He-Man and a Ninja Turtle and a Street Sharks kind of character, but it's parody, so it works out. Yeah.
I was thinking about the horror one, but I know what you're talking about now, that other one. There's a horror one that's also just a bunch of obvious references, but yeah.
Well, I think that was one that started as Terrordrome, which literally was like all the horror icons, and then they made their own version of it with like basically public domain monsters and like made characters based on them, basically more like a Western Darkstalkers kind of thing.
Let me kind of give the origin story of why we're talking about why I thought it'd be fun to talk about the Mortal Kombat story mode tier list, because True Underdog made a video recently ranking the Mortal Kombat like story modes, and he kind of asked our opinions behind the scenes, and I'm like, in my opinion, when I saw that list, I was like, I actually have, I was kind of shocked by a lot of the rankings on this list. I'm like, okay, interesting, and then I kind of thought, well, this has always been kind of like a small topic we've had behind the scenes, and I think it'd be kind of fun if we do, like, remember when we ranked like the best Mortal Kombat characters, like a video like that? I think we could do something like similar where it's like the three of us, like the Combat King's favorite story mode list, or like how we'd rank it, and also we have to come to a consensus as like what we think should be where and whatnot. So I think that would be kind of fun. Before we start, so this is the tier list that Dog has created. I have it open on my screen over here so I can like move shit around, and I will post the final screenshot for you guys when I'm done with it. I have a personal suggestion about this tier list, and that is I find the pointless tier to be very mean.
To be mean?
I mean, like, the fact that there is a pointless tier, I think that's just like, oh, that's so mean to the story mode of the game.
Well, it came out with the idea of MK2 because one of our buddies, I forget his channel, Snake might remember, he's got a little purple avatar, and he does It's called like Controlled Chaos or something like that. I forget. Or Chaos. I don't know. He does reviews of Mortal Kombat a lot, and he brought up how the Mortal Kombat 2 story is completely pointless. It is. Now, to be fair, it came out before MK3, but MK3 is just a more interesting version of Mortal Kombat 2 in like every way.
Lore-wise, like you can also, I guess, but at the same time, it's like back in the day, if Mortal Kombat 3 never existed, then people would just take that as like the second tournament, and in fact future generations will like adapt that into like a lot of like movies or like Mortal Kombat 9 plot or like and whatnot, and I feel like Mortal Kombat 2 still has a lot of like lore that happens that does affect the future Mortal Kombat and stuff like that.
Well, he does a good job breaking it down. He points out that you could literally rip Mortal Kombat 2 out of the timeline and nothing changes because like nothing eventful happens in MK2 really, except that maybe Shang Tsung is made young.
Well, no, there are some things that happen. It's more just that you could easily move that stuff to MK3. Like, Kitana turning against Shao Kahn could happen in MK3, and the introduction of Kuai Liang could happen in MK3. And that's true, but at the same time, one, that would make MK3 feel a bit too packed with stuff going on. And also, you can kind of make that argument with pretty much anything. Like, you can argue, oh, yeah, well, you could just say MK2 happens, Shao Kahn dies, and then all the stuff from MK3 is part of MK4 instead. Like, it's an easy argument to make, that you can just remove things from one game and put them in another. Yeah,
sure. I guess just MK2 has the same villain, you know, same main cast of characters too, I feel like. I mean, the Sindel thing's way cooler. Huh?
You can also kind of think of it as like back in the day when no other game exists. Just look at Mortal Kombat 2. How does this story?
Well, yes, I mean, no one's arguing that there's no reason why it existed, or like they're not arguing that it wasn't a good idea at the time. He's just saying that when you look at the chronology of Mortal Kombat, like you could literally, like Snake said, move some tiny things into MK3, because MK2 feels like weird from all angles. Like not only is the villain repeated, but also the idea that Raiden would agree to this tournament where if they lose, like Earth's just destroyed, feels very out of character. Like he wouldn't do that.
Well, they captured Sonya, right? Or was that
that wasn't even the original plot. It was just another tournament at first.
Oh, it was?
Okay.
But I thought it was held every 500 years or something.
Yeah, but Shao Kahn basically challenges them again. And basically, I know Sonya's capture is part of it now, but I think back then it was literally he attacks the Shaolin Temple, and that's supposed to make Liu Kang specifically come to Outworld so Shao can fight him and like kill him. So the premise of MK2 has changed, even to the point where at some point John Tobias claimed actually MK2 was all bullshit. It was all just a distraction while Shao set up the Sindel plot for MK3.
That's what I think is like too,
which I feel is the worst version of that. Like, that's terrible.
Yeah.
It's way better when it escalates rather than here's your first story, then here's a filler arc, then the real shit gets going again. Like, no, John, I love you, but that's fucking terrible.
You know what would be really cool, actually?
That's awful.
You know what would be really cool? It would make the audience feel kind of cucked, but I think the escalation idea would be really cool. Imagine if they try to adapt MK2 into a movie, right? And when Liu Kang and Shao are fighting, it gets to be pretty intense. They're both getting injured. The fight's escalating. Maybe the Elder Gods are a bit late to the party and go, stop, and just stop the whole thing. And they're like, there is not to be another tournament. We have rules about this. And they stop the fight. So that way when the invasion happens in MK3 and Shao and Liu fight again, it's like, oh, now we get to actually see like how it's going to end. Because before it was like in a stalemate. That'd be kind of interesting. Otherwise, it's kind of anticlimactic because Liu Kang already beat him once. You know?
Yeah. But my point is, I'm just kind of saying, like, I personally would prefer it's like we at least, like, regardless if it's pointless in the timeline, like, rank whatever story was in that game. Because I remember, like, when you said, like, you know, Armageddon is pointless because MK9 Shao Kahn just wins, so whatever Taven does there doesn't matter anyways. I'm like, that's so mean to Armageddon.
It's not our fault. It's not my fault. It is totally NetherRealm's fault that they ignored the entire reason that game exists, which is Taven.
But sure, but what I mean is, like, if you're ranking a story mode, sorry, go ahead.
Dog. May I propose that by that logic, literally the entire original timeline is pointless because Shao wins. In fact, everything prior to M1K is pointless because everything gets reset anyway. So really, the only stories that matter are M1K and Onslaught because that's in the post MK11 multiverse. Literally, nothing else matters.
I mean, I can see your point, but I don't think that's true only because MK9 literally hits all...
Yes, it's not true. That's the point I'm making, dog.
He's being ridiculous. Yes.
Oh, well, I thought you were saying because based on what I said, you could argue, and I'm like, but no, you really can't because MK9
Yes,
purposely plays off the beats of the older
can't.
games, whereas Taven gets completely ignored in MK9. He literally does not exist.
No, he does get acknowledged in
He does?
Raiden's visions. He appears in 1 fighting Raiden.
Oh,
It's not
okay,
much, but
sure,
he's
sure.
acknowledged.
But he's not in the pyramid or anything. He's not, yeah.
No,
I think we see Dagon's corpse, though, don't we? Or am I Mandela-ing that?
no, you don't.
You don't? Okay. Gotcha. So you just see some Armageddon characters strewn around, but you don't see like Taven or Dagon. Gotcha. Yeah. That's all
No.
I meant. It's not really it's MK9's fault and also Armageddon's fault for leaning so hard on just like those characters, which is way worse. It's more egregious than Conquest, where you could argue characters are still kind of doing their own thing in the background.
See,
I feel like
that-
most Armageddon really
that-
is Taven and Dagon. Huh?
That there dog, that's a good argument. This is the big celebration that brings everybody back. Most of them have no role in the story. That's a valid argument. But you can't say, oh yeah, well, like a few years later, they just, like 5 years later, they said, well, this story doesn't matter. No, that's not fair. That's not fair on that. You know? It's like,
I'm not trying to be
let's-
fair. It's just a literal name for the tier. Like,
You made the tier.
Let's rank
True.
the eras of DC Comics.
did.
Pre-Crisis doesn't matter because Crisis happened. Post-Crisis doesn't matter because New 52 happened. New 52 is a little bit, but then Rebirth happened. Fuck you, dog.
well, in my defense,
Dog,
everyone
dog.
praises MK9 despite all the crapping it did on Armageddon.
Shut it
So
up. Shut it up. I'm just saying, your video was ranking the worst Mortal Kombat stories. So that's why I personally feel like if you're not talking about the stories, but you're just talking about how pointless the story is in the grand narrative of things, I don't think that's very, like, you're ranking the story itself. You're just talking about, like, oh, it doesn't matter because, like, whatnot. So what I'm trying to say is, personally,
Sure.
for when we're going to rank this tier, how about we change the pointless tier to overrated? Like,
well,
just change that word
sure
to,
you
like,
can. If you want to
overrated.
put it in, you can make your own little tier list right now if you want. We can drag it all around while
I
you're
am
talking.
currently. Yeah, when we're going to
Well,
make it.
I would say we should just focus on what we think of the quality, because I think if you're going to go overrated, it's like, well, yeah, I would say that pretty much all the NetherRealm ones are overrated, but what does that really say about those stories?
I guess
Like,
so. I'm just kind of making like a funny
like for
tier.
example, I think MK9 overrated, MK11 overrated. They should not be in the same tier.
Yeah,
'Cause
exactly.
MK11 is magnitudes worse. So I think something
So-
like this.
Well,
And don't worry,
so
everyone.
what I'm
Just
saying
more
is, yeah, I know, but I meant like overrated is more like the title, but is it actually overrated? Is a bit like you can insinuate, but at the same time, it's like whatever's underneath overrated is like the third best. I mean, like it's better than the other like two worst. It was what I'm kind of saying. So it's like it kind of works as a title, and also kind of like it's sort of like
Yeah, but this is the kind of the thing is like sometimes you have certain ones that just don't. Here's a tier that doesn't really go on the same spectrum as the rest. Like when Dog is like, let's rate the characters, and then he's like, dies. And it's like, yeah, but like, Hanzo dies in MK11. Does that mean he's bad in that game? No, he gets some good moments. He gets to
just dies,
turn his past
basically.
self and whatnot. But no, that's not relevant because he dies.
Well, I think sometimes, in my defense, I do sometimes put them in two tiers.
you do, yes, yeah,
Yeah.
two versions of the
Then what's the point of the tiers?
Well, because they do both. They can have a big impact, but also die.
Then why does the dice tier exist? Just acknowledge that it happens.
Because it's fun. Why are you so anti-fun? It's fun to put die in the thumbnail and to be like,
It's
people
fun to
who
put
like
die in this video.
people who glance at the video, they go, "Oh my god, look how many games this character died in." You know, it's just kind of fun.
We will cross that path when we cross
That's
that
a good
path.
idea
Let's see
for
how
a
the
video.
tier
I'm gonna
list
write that down.
goes.
The Mortal Kombat dies tier list, like just based on how many times characters die, and rank them based on that.
I feel like we could just start with a tier list. I mean, we're already arguing before we even start ranking these before, but we'll see how it goes. If we want to change the names of these tiers, then we'll see how it goes. But my nomination is just to change pointless, because I feel like I feel like we should just
And
rank
don't
each
worry,
story.
everyone. From now on, I'm going to speak a bit less because it's about them rearranging my tier list. You've already heard my reasonings for why things are where they are. If you watch the video,
You gotta
so I'm
defend
gonna
your
let them mostly
reasonings,
talk.
dog. Come on, you gotta talk about.
Dog assuming people watch his videos.
Damn. I mean, here's the thing though. Dog has been pretty successful recently. Like he just puts the AI upscale like thumbnail and gets like 60,000 views. It's like actually, well, he's making fun of the AI thumbnail, by the way. He's not actually, it's not an AI thumbnail.
Yes, I mean that's fair to clarify.
But anyways, let's get right into it. And I feel like we should do it. I think we can do it like chronologically. But personally, I want to leave MK versus DC for last. I just want to I just personally want to talk about that for last. I think that would be like a fun one to say at the last one.
I mean, if we're going chronologically, that would go around the same time as M1K because that is part of that multiverse. I know there was a whole thing where one of the writers said actually it's part of the MK11 like
timelines or something.
11, like nah, we see Raiden in the. We see
Invasions.
We see Raiden. Yeah, we see Invasions. It's part of this multiverse now. There's evidence in the games that trumps word of God. Heck you.
So, what do you guys think about Mortal Kombat 1? Oh gosh, what happened?
My sword fell and hit me in the crotch.
Oh, ooh, took battle damage.
1992,
Ooh.
by the way. I gotta emphasize that since that's the first one.
It's fitting that things just go wrong when I'm dressed as Kung Lao. Let's just put it that way.
Oh, man, dude.
Careful, he's gonna snap your neck right behind you.
Damn you, NetherRealm. That's why I've got to make a dumbest deaths video too, because some of the deaths in the narrative are just so stupid and done so poorly.
Yeah. Original Mortal Kombat 1, I don't think having it in mid is anything too special.
Well,
like I feel like
it depends on how we're looking at it. Is it what the story was originally? Because originally Outworld wasn't relevant.
A little bit.
That was retconned in MK2. Outworld wasn't relevant originally. It was just trying to take the tournament back from Shang Tsung. And if Shang Tsung kept the control of the tournament, then I guess he keeps control of the tournament.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Like that was it. There was no realm merging or anything. So it was very basic. The story is improved a lot by the retcons from like MK2.
Yes.
But if you're looking purely at the original story, it's fine. It's perfectly serviceable. It's not bad or anything. It's just a very basic excuse for these martial artists to fight each other. But it has some interesting ideas, like the whole, like the rivalry between Scorpion and Sub-Zero. Scorpion's back from the dead to kill Sub-Zero, but he's also like, well, I'm not going to kill you here. I'm going to wait for the tournament. He doesn't canonically wait to. He don't kill him in his whole bout, but you know. So there's some interesting character beats.
Are you also including the comic? Because isn't there like the comic right leading up to the tournament? Is that?
I would say yes, because it is like the introduction to the story.
With that
I kind of want to say that it's not
opinion.
fair to include outside material if you're ranking the game stories.
That's what I mean. It's like, because then you can also put that in Mortal Kombat X and whatnot.
Because then Mortal Kombat X just wins,
The MKX comics is a completely separate story, so that doesn't count.
And this does lead up to Mortal Kombat 1, that comic. But overall, I think I like mid. I actually think like that's a pretty fine place to put Mortal Kombat 1. It's just like to find like tournament story, even without like the prequel comic.
It's just means to call it mid. It should be like fine or serviceable or something like that.
Mid is like, really decent. Like mid is actually just literally like the middle of the pack in all the other story modes. We're not like shit talking Mortal Kombat 1, you know.
But when you say mid, it's usually used as an insult. Like this thing is mid.
Yes, that is the unfortunate reality of how we are nowadays. It's like that was a mid movie. Wow, so you didn't like it? No, I just.
It's not my fault that no one knows what the word middle means anymore. It means average. It means serviceable.
Well, this was like a thing. I remember like 10, 15 years ago, Jim Sterling was complaining about it. So I was talking about how they gave some game an 8 out of 10. No, a game got an 8 out of 10 like IGN, and fans raged about it. And it's like, how is 8 bad? 8 is really good. Right. Yeah, fans were just like, no, these are 10 out of 10. It's like, have you played it? No. Well, then shut your mouth. Yep.
In their defense, that's because IGN is a soulless bot company who will give 10s to anyone who pays them behind the scenes. Like, clearly. Because they give Call of Duty a perfect 10 every time, and nobody thinks that Call of Duty's ever been a 10. Nobody believes that.
I mean, I agree IGN sucks, but at some points, I don't necessarily think it's just they're paid behind the scenes. I also feel like it's because whenever they give something that's like a 7, or anything that's like a little lower than an 8, they get death threats. Like
well, because they give so many shameless 10s. That's what I was getting at. They give so many shameless 10s that when they give a 7, it's like, what the fuck? If they were just fair with every game, it'd be fine.
So now every game they give is like an 8 at least. That's why it's just like they don't want to like mess with like the fans ever again. Like that's how it's kind of been. It's like some reviewer like gave something like a 6 out of 10, and like those people like the fans like went on to like that one like reviewer who like decided to leave the company after that and whatnot.
The alternative is to be like that one company who with a hack fraud who reviewed this game, Hyrule Warriors, Age of Imprisonment, and was like, first thing they do is say, Dynasty Warriors is going to be 30 years old this year, and I can't think of a single franchise less deserving of being like, why the fuck is that person reviewing a Warriors game then?
Yeah.
It's like saying, imagine someone's like, hey, like, oh yeah, Doom is turning like 40 whatever this coming year. Oh well, and I can't think of a single franchise undeserving of like. See what I mean? It's fucked. It's like, then why the fuck are you reviewing an FPS?
Yes, exactly.
Get out. This is why game journalists are the scum of the earth.
I was gonna say,
Fuck
could you
them
guys
all.
imagine, because we have IGN giving so many 8s and stuff now, that Call of Duty comes back to bribe them like they always do. I know they do. This is like inarguable. They go, hey, we're not going to be okay with a 10 because you're giving everyone 8s, 9s, and 10s now. And so IGN does something so shameless, like, for a series first on this channel, an 11 out of 10. Yeah, for Call of Duty. It's just so damn good. They took a point away from Mortal Kombat for having faithful costumes to MK3, by the way. Never forget that.
What?
They did that. Like, IGN gave MK9 a lower score, took points off and said, I wish some outfits weren't stuck in the 90s. I'm sorry? Hello? Street Fighter? Hello?
2012
Anyway.
IGN, very interesting era too.
Ignore the fact that none of those outfits were not new. They were all new designs on old costumes. They were not just copy and pasted like every other fighting game did back then.
What that is just some loser who's like, I want to get in with the word woke didn't exist here, but that it's like that's the hip thing to do, is to like shit on and like sexy costumes because it's so outdated, it makes us all look immature, and it's like, but yeah,
Damn,
so
back in
that's what
2012?
is someone
Wow.
trying to get in with like the in crowd who's like Anita Sarkeesians of the world who are like, oh, video games need to grow up. It's like, how about you fuck off?
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, how about that? Bitch.
Anyways, let's keep talking before we complain about another video game politically. So Mortal Kombat 2, we kind of had a bit of a discussion just then. I personally still think it can be around mid.
Well,
What do you guys think?
Well, we have to consider what MK2 brings to the table, because it introduces Kitana and has her crisis of conscience and whatnot. It brings in Shao Kahn, like the second
time.
greatest, originally the second greatest villain of the franchise. Now far low because they've ruined him. But they introduced him. They introduced Kuai Liang and his cool relationship with Scorpion. And
Yes.
so they brought in Jax. Jax is a cool guy. A little mid, admittedly, but he's pretty good to bring in.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of new cool stuff. The narrative itself is a bit the same, but like most fighting games are like that. Most fighting games are just like new tournament, new bad guy. This one at least changes the scenario where it's like, well, now they're in the bad guy's territory, and then that allows all the stages to be completely different, of a whole different theme to them. Like it's a whole different style because they're in a completely different place. So depending on the difference between the tiers, it certainly deserves to go at least a tier above, I think.
And honestly, the tier above is called underrated, and you are making good points why maybe it's kind of underrated and whatnot. Like, it's setting up more from the first tournament and like doing more. It's actually like continuing the plots and fleshing out characters and whatnot. And it made Reptile official, so I like that actually.
Oh yeah, true.
There we go. Any opinions about that, Dog? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, the more you talk about it, the more it's starting to make sense. I will say that I don't think it should count if they just add a cool character, because that's not really a story that you're rating. You're rating the character additions. You got to think, what do those characters add to the story, if anything, right? So Shao Kahn is pretty much just Shang Tsung. He's the new boss of the tournament. He looks cool,
Dog,
but yeah.
Dog, most fighting game stories are composed of the individual character stories.
No, that's not what I said. I said, don't say, oh, this character's cool, therefore the game is story. No, that's not what we're ranking. We're ranking the story itself. So if the character does something cool in the story, great. But don't just go, oh, Shao Kahn is cool, so therefore MK2 gets moved up. No, the story didn't get better.
This is why this is why the early ones are harder to rank, because with later ones you just go, look at the cinematic story mode, whatever endings are canon, that's your story. Whereas here it's like, you have to kind of go piecemeal and go, well, what does it bring to the table? So it's almost unfair to even compare these, because the style of storytelling is so radically different.
Hence why I made the point list
Yes.
here. Yes. Yeah.
That's why your video's pointless, motherfucker.
All videos are pointless, Snake, in the grand scheme of things. We're all waiting for the
Don't
heat
say
death
that.
of the
People will
universe.
click off this pointless video, you dipshit.
Damn. But I mean, like, I agree. Like, there is still story in Mortal Kombat 2. Like, there are still arcs with these characters. And
No,
whatnot.
yeah,
I mean, Shao Kahn, you still have the introduction of like, oh, there is the more badass character, like the boss of Shang Tsung. All that is established in like the intro and whatnot. So there is still some stuff with Shao Kahn, not just like his stature
Yes.
and whatnot.
No, that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying the characters don't get counted at all. I'm just saying think about how the characters. And we're still ranking the story, so you have to think, okay, is the
Yes.
character's story cool? Because the character themselves is not really a fair enough way to rationalize the story ranking. I feel like otherwise, just whoever has the coolest characters wins. No, it's supposed to be story, right?
We are
Well,
talking about a
well-
little about the story at least.
Yeah.
Well, we have Liu Kang. He's now got his revenge motivation, so he's a bit more interesting than what you had in the first game. Then you have the new dynamic of Scorpion and Sub-Zero, because it's a different Sub-Zero, and
Yes.
and their relationship's completely different, and it's really interesting. Kitana was introduced, and she's got her interesting story with Melina and Shao. Reptile doesn't have a whole lot going on, neither
No.
does Johnny. Or
Does Kung Lao have stuff?
Jax is about the same as Sonya's in terms of like how interesting it is. He's just trying to save
Jax
her as
also
opposed to capture Kano.
yeah, Jax also replaced Sonya in that game too, which is kind of
Yeah.
interesting if you think about it.
And Kung Lao, well, he's there with Liu Kang doing the same kind of thing. So you could argue Liu Kang having like a friend to accompany him adds more to the story. So
Yes,
in a
that's
lot of
cool.
ways, it kind of just is MK1 but better.
I agree. I feel like there's a lot of points to be made like that.
Sure.
So yeah, I put in the underrated tier. Next up, we've got Mortal Kombat 3. MK3 does introduce a lot of cool conflicts, a lot of cool like ideas, and like that's the thing, like Snake you just talked about. It's like when we rank these sort of things, it's like if you look at the cinematics, you can literally look at a cinematic, literally look at the things that are happening on screen. Whereas in like these classic games, we have text, we have pictures, we have implications. And to me, I'm wondering, like, even with all that cool things there, do you agree it's on peak though? The Chrono Dog ranked it as like one of the best story modes that Mortal Kombat has ever told, and I'm trying to wonder if that's like if it should be there. What do you guys think?
MK3. This accounts for all versions of MK3.
Yeah, that's
because
just
I don't like how
full element
MK3
too.
split into like 5 different stories. So yeah.
Because 4 and Gold are separate, so I was wondering about that.
Should we separate that? I really don't think we need to. What do you guys
I
think?
only
No.
put gold up here because I wanted to put more things in the pointless tier.
Oh, okay. Then that's just not separate 4 then. I think it's. I
Well,
think.
maybe the tier was pointless, dog. What do you think about that?
See, the problem is I like making
Anyways,
tier lists, but also I have OCD,
MK3.
so if I just see like 1 or 2 games in a row, it bothers me.
Bro's really out here pulling the I'm neurodivergent.
Chrono
card.
Dog,
Fuck you.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I have noticed that. I have noticed your OCD with these tier lists.
Yeah, I
It's
will
like,
line
gotta
them up.
make it-
I'll try to balance them
gotta
out,
make
which is not
I
good.
gotta like shit talk or compliment these games like unfaringly to make them in different tiers. To make it look like a nice tier list. Mortal Kombat 3. Anyways, it does introduce an interesting conflict, which is just like, oh, a loophole, and instead of a tournament, now we're going like invasions. Now we're going full force like war and all that kind of stuff. And I think that there's definitely some interesting ideas.
It's the ultimate escalation of the original conflict for that original trilogy, and as a trilogy topper, I don't think you get as good a concept as this, because it's so good of, it's like the idea of a lot of the Halo stuff. When you look at the Halo prequel stuff, it's like, well, one of the big threats is don't let the Covenant get to Earth. If the Covenant get to Earth, it's over. There's all these protocols in place to stop that from happening, and then Halo 2, it happens. The Covenant reach Earth, and then Halo 3, the Flood get to Earth, and it's even worse. So in a similar way, Shao Kahn
Escalating
gets
conflict.
to Earth. We stop him, then we stop him forever, but then he cheats. And he makes it anyway. And so it raises the stakes there. And then we also get all these interesting smaller stories, like obviously, Kitana has to save Sindel, which is directly relevant to the main story. And then you have plot lines like Sub-Zero and the Cyber Initiative. Scorpion's got his thing where he's working for Shao Kahn, then he's like, oh, Sub-Zero's on that side? Fuck you guys, and switches sides. Liu Kang is a bit less interesting here, but they were kind of leading in towards the Liu Kang Kitana thing around this time, so you could argue he's more helping her because he's got his revenge, he's done his thing. Now he's here to help someone else's story, and then of course you get the tragedy of Kung Lao's supposed death in the end, and we get
And Johnny, right?
depending on
Doesn't Johnny die here?
Yeah, true. We lose one of the original heroes and then supposedly lose one of the others later. And, we've got Sonya and Jax working together. That's neat because they were separate in the previous games and now they're working together. And we have, like, Cabal, the turncoat former Black Dragon. And we get, like, a normal dude's perspective through Stryker. Now, some of this is all conceptual. Like, we don't have an in-depth explanation of what Stryker's perspective is.
I want to bring up something here. So, like, what you're saying all sounds very cool, but at the same time, you are giving Cliff Note versions, which is what the game is also doing too. And it's like Cliff Note and then get into the gameplay. And part of me is like, that's cool, but would that be like peak storytelling? Or is that just good? Like, I feel like it's better than Mortal Kombat 2 right now that we're talking about. But is it actually like so good that it's like this shit is like the best storytelling? Because it's like...
Again, that is the tricky part because how do you judge it? Because you could say, well, in isolation, this is nothing. It's just a bunch of cliff notes. Sure, but that is how these stories were told back then. That's how fighting game stories were told in that era. Obviously, if this story was being told like 20 years later, they'd have a big fancy cinematic story mode that tries to flesh all these ideas out. That would happen. Well,
they tried that in MK9, that's right.
Maybe they would have simplified things too much and said, oh, well, scrap this, scrap that. No. But
yeah.
So it is tricky to do, but I think with the original stuff, we kind of have to just go off what the ideas are because there isn't really an execution. It's almost like this is the outline of the story and they just hand us that. They don't make it adapt into a full story, so we kind of have to judge it from that. But then that leads to the question: is it then fair to judge the later stories that do flesh the stuff out against that, or should we just go off or do we go off what the concept is? That's why it's difficult.
The thing is, I do like a lot of these concepts. I do like how they're being utilized here, and I'll listen to what you think, Snake, because Dog has it at peak. What would you rank it that high? Is my question.
Oh, that is tricky because I feel like it would be like one of the best stories if you or could be if you did flesh it out. MK9 didn't really do that. It just did its own thing.
It's true. But that's like everyone's like, dude, if they made a movie of MK3, like, ooh, that would be like, it could be really good. Yeah. Like I remember we talked about this before.
It wouldn't necessarily because Annihilation exists, but like it has the potential.
I scoff at that comparison. I get that it is technically, but I scoff at that. I don't consider Annihilation MK3 at all.
I think it might be better to consider these almost like two separate tier lists and just use
that would
the
be
same
kind of complicated,
go,
but yeah.
Yeah, but like if we were to look at it that way, then I'd say in terms of the classic ones, like 3 is peak. It's definitely like there's so many good character dynamics and plot lines and whatnot, but again, it's difficult. So some people here might disagree with what we're saying. Some might say, well, you can't judge them like that. And we hear you. It's just at the end we have to make a decision on how we're going to do it. And I think
I love UMK3 for a lot of reasons. It's the first time they were original with the story instead of it just being a tournament, right? Which I think almost every fighting game was still using the tournament format as a crutch. And here comes MK3, or my favorite.
Mostly.
MK3 is really funny because a bunch of the endings talk about the third tournament. It's like, there is no tournament.
There's not.
Melina doesn't win a tournament in her ending. There is no every tournament. What are you talking about?
True. Almost every character is doing something too. The only exception I can think of, unfortunately, I believe Melina does actually nothing canonically. She's told to just observe. Because apparently she's working for Shinnok. It was retconned in that game. So
she was added in Ultimate Mortal Kombat, right? If I'm not mistaken, or was she added in the base game?
She's in Ultimate, and then they changed her ending in Trilogy to tie into MK4, which is funny because she wasn't even in MK4.
True, she's not.
I think it's because around that same time Mythologies was also coming out, and in Mythologies it's mentioned how it's asserted in the manual that Shinnok and Quan Chi are the ones who resurrect Sindel. Like the retcon is to tie 4 into 3, so that Shinnok did that. He gave Shao Sindel's soul rather in return for Shang Tsung telling Quan Chi where the Temple of the Elements map was, and so it's trying to tie it all together. And I don't think even MK4, rather the newer games, even go off that idea. I think MK9 and X just ignore that part of other than the broad concept of the NetherRealm Outworld Alliance. So it can get a bit tricky trying to pick out what happened, but I think Molina's supposed to not necessarily be working for Shinnok, maybe just resurrected as part of the deal to continue working for Shao. It's messy. It's a messy era for the franchise. It's why MK9 should have just been retell those stories as they were, rather than this weird time travel plot, and give us like the definitive version of the story.
But yeah, I would actually agree when Snake, you're putting it like thinking of it in isolation and then ranking it. Like I was actually kind of like testing you, Snake. I was like, where would you put it? Because I do agree that it is quite peak, if in isolation too, especially. Like I actually would. It's even lower. I would say like actually good is fine, but I like having it on peak. I like having this story like be there. So I think this is a nice like peak choice for Mortal Kombat. But let's move on because like I don't think we want to stay on each of them for too long.
No, mainly talk about the contentious ones. Yeah,
obviously Mortal Kombat 4, I never thought of it until Dog brought it up, but yeah, Mortal Kombat 4 isn't like super amazing like when you compare it to like the other games too. The funniest thing also is if you told me what do you remember about Mortal Kombat 4 in its story, and I would say I remember that Donkey video where he reacts to every single arcade ending and laughs hysterically at them because they're so like cheesy and funny.
For which game? For 4?
Mortal Kombat 4. I skipped Mythologies, but we'll get back to that in just a bit.
Yeah, MK4, the problem is it just feels like a rehash of MK3 because it did so well. So it's like no tournament. We're invading this time. New big bad. Well, a couple new big bads, but actually they were introduced in Mythology Sub-Zero. So they're not actually new. But you get my point. This is like the villains, the new villains on the block. And it feels like a rehashing of 3 because 3 did well. And they're like, oh, let's just do that again. Only it's way less interesting.
Another way you could look at it is because originally it was kind of... I think the original idea was that Edenia was the old name for Outworld, so that's why the stages, a lot of them are from MK2. It's still the same places. And so you can look at it as an inversion of MK2, rather than going there to defend our realm, we're going there to save Outworld from this other invader. And so that's a neat little theme, and then you have... you have this character moments like Scorpion being turned against Sub-Zero by Quan Chi through his manipulation. Liu Kang has got a student. He's moving on to train the new generation. Johnny Cage is back. You know, if this story was fleshed out, Johnny would have some fun quips, and that would obviously lighten the mood.
Jack's got his most iconic line.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate that Shinnok doesn't really... Shinnok has never been a particularly compelling villain.
No.
Any version of the franchise, which is unfortunate, but it is how it is. And like the most interesting story here, it comes down to like the Kitana getting Goro to like work against Shao Kahn in later games, and like the piece there, and Kung Lao throws his hat at Goro and all that stuff. Like there's that, and Scorpion Sub-Zero's dynamic that leads into the Deadly Alliance, and it says a lot. I think that the most interesting dynamic stories of MK4 are stuff that's more impactful in the next game than in MK4 itself.
Yeah, it's like of course, thinking back, I think Mortal Kombat 4 like is still like part of the story. It still affects things that happen later on and whatnot. But in isolation, like it definitely is just kind of more like, and whatnot. But it's still, I wouldn't necessarily say it's bad. Like I don't think it's like it does anything that's like, oh, that was terrible and whatnot. So like, ironically, like I feel like in the current tier list, the overrated or the pretty bad, I feel like would apply there. What do you guys think?
I'd say it's probably just mid, honestly.
You think it's good enough to be mid? Now I think about it, the thing like negativity wise, it's not necessarily negatives, it's just like I think the things before it did it better, or like it's just still better than Mortal Kombat 4, which is why I would put it a little lower than mid.
You already know my opinion.
It's not the kind of thing. It's not the kind of thing you would walk out of the cinema. If it was a film, you wouldn't walk out of the cinema going, "Oh, that was terrible." You'd be like, it's fine."
So how about this? Snake puts it in mid. I put it below mid, which would be overrated, and Dog puts it like, what's it called? Really bad. So in that case, how about we just put it in the overrated tier?
I think that's the thing. 'Cause, like the term overrated implies that people really, really like it,
And they don't.
but,
Yeah.
like, do they?
No.
Okay, let's change the name then. How about I change
See,
it
it's not
to-
easy, is it, everyone watching? Tier lists aren't as easy as you think, are they?
It actually is. It's literally, you just call it like good, very good, okay, bad, very bad. It's that simple.
But okay and good mean the same thing.
I mean, good is better than okay in some tier lists, or some ways of putting it, but sure, they're really
Wait,
similar.
you could say neutral then. You know, it's that
Neutral?
simple. It's
Neutral's
not,
just mid,
not
but
different.
you're
Mid
afraid
is
to
kinda
commit.
neutral.
You're afraid to
Mid is
commit.
kind.
Sure, keep mid, but then put mid, good, very good, bad, very bad. It just this is not
Boring.
How
difficult,
about
you
flaws?
fuckers.
I like flaws. Like, there's some flaws with this.
Look, we can come up with like cute names later once we have a structure we understand for the fucking tier list.
Maybe we should add a tier just called like fumble, where it's like it could have been good, but they fucked it up. It's a fumble.
Fumble sounds worse than really bad, weirdly enough.
Well,
Anyways,
that's the thing. Then it can be well.
EHHHH.
This could have been good, but it's not that good. Then this could have been good, but it's fucking terrible. Again, it's the kind of thing where
True,
it
there's
kind
too many
of-
variations.
yeah.
there's too
Anyways,
much gray area
the
with
point
it.
is like lower than mid and higher than really bad. And I made I currently call it like EHHH Mythologies. So I am a person who has never played Mythologies. I've only seen bits of it, and I've never seen like the whole entire story. So I can't really give too much of a like criticism, but I will say, opinion-wise, like people really highly regard this game a lot. They talk about this being like, oh, this is like a prequel before Mortal Kombat 1. This is like a really interesting history point for like what happens and all that kind of stuff. And like they appreciate, I think it's more appreciated nowadays for that aspect, which is I actually kind of like seeing it in the underrated tier because I feel like, oh, it's kind of underrated in that aspect. But I do got to ask for you two who have probably played the game, is the story good? Like, is like the cutscenes?
Well, this is the
cheesy?
thing is, anybody who's ever praised this game, it's purely for the story because the gameplay is not very good.
No.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
no
what I've
one
heard too.
no one says it's the complete package, which is why it's really funny. It's like because Shaolin Monks is the exact opposite. It's like story, doo-doo water, gameplay.
Yeah. There is one good thing about Shaolin Monks, and that's just the reveal
We'll get
that,
into
this has
that.
been Shang Tsung for a while, but yeah.
Not really,
but
but
with-
we'll get into that.
With Mythologies, well, it was neat that they brought back the dead Sub-Zero, who
Yeah.
had been dead for 3
Yeah,
games by that
his-
point.
his
So,
main-
so
his-
get to
his-
see
his
his
main
story, and it's also used to set up the next game. So, which helps the overall cohesion of the franchise, where it's not like this is all about this guy, Shao Kahn, and whatnot, and then suddenly, oh, this other guy shows up. It's like, well, no, there's connections that have been there since the start. So that helps things feel a bit more tight. A lot of people like Bihan's characterization. There's not a ton of it, admittedly, because a lot of the story moments happen with just gameplay, so there's not really much in the way of actual story scenes. Like, he never speaks to Fujin, he just shows up and Fujin's like,
Yep.
oh, and they just fight immediately. And then Fujin explodes, and Sub-Zero doesn't stop and have like a Metal Gear death scene with him, like talking for 5 minutes before he eventually bleeds out.
Wait, really? That happens?
Yeah, he just he explodes and you move on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Fujin like explodes
yeah.
himself, which I guess he only did because he's confident that he'll reincarnate or something. So he's like, whatever.
That's why it's cope beyond cope when he says you ran away. No,
In Mortal
motherfucker,
Kombat
you
11, it's so
exploded into
funny.
jibs. Fuck.
Yeah, I saw someone in the comments say, no, he's saying that he ran away to that ledge and then grabbed onto it. 'Cause that's what you do to avoid the tornado of death, is you run away and grab that ledge. And it's like, he still didn't run away. He just made a strategical move because you can't just get sucked up
That'd be
and
funny if
killed.
that was the implication.
It's like, oh, you may have cut me to ribbons, motherfucker, but you dodged my attacks, you coward.
What I find funny is that this fight still implies, yes, Fujin blew himself up, but this fight still implies that Sub-Zero pushed him to his absolute limits, and that's what Fujin thought was the best decision in the moment.
Yeah,
That means
keep in
Sub-Zero's
mind,
fucking legit, dude.
In the broader context, do you remember what else we saw? God pushed to the absolute limit and they blew themselves up. Oh yeah, when Onaga came back and Raiden blew himself up. Fujin reckons Bihan is Onaga level.
Well, that just shows how dog shit
Very
Fujin is.
cool.
Yeah, how's it feel, Fujin
Yeah.
fans? Like, that's how, here's Raiden up here, and then Fujin's like little bro down here, can't even take on like a top level ninja.
Unironically, Fujin kind of gets buffed in terms of his characterization in NRS era. Like he
Well,
was
yeah,
just
in,
kind of
like,
the
every
cool
way.
wind guy in the Midway era, but I
No,
feel
no,
like
no, no, Sonic. He was just kind of the wind guy.
Yeah, exactly.
You keep that the C word out of this.
So that's one of the rare like enhancements that NRS has done.
So getting
there.
us back on track.
Where would you guys rank Mythologies?
The last thing is, again, there are actual cutscenes this time.
Yes,
but
exactly.
Still, a lot of the stuff is kind of like Serena's storyline is very, it's like 2 or 3 cutscenes to tell her entire story, and it's like so. The concept's there. It's just you don't really see a lot of it. So, and with the older arcade games, we can forgive some of that because that's how the story was told. But now we have actual cutscenes. How forgivable is that? But then, is that even relevant to get into these semantics? I don't know. I think overall it's fine. We got to see certain. I think the biggest weakness of the story is that Scorpion's not in it as much, because you'd expect these eternal rivals to have more going on rather than literally the first thing you do is chase down Scorpion and rip his face off,
Yeah.
You'd think, I know you do get another fight with him later if you do that, but I think he should have had a bigger role in the story. Like he should have been like the Jetstream Sam or the Virgil who keeps popping up rather than he's done. Like imagine Devil May Cry 3, Dante like defeats Virgil in mission 7 or whatever, and then Virgil's just out of the story for the rest of the game. Like no.
Can you imagine how meta it would have been if Sub-Zero does his thing, kills Scorpion, then the game has a pause where, he enters a tournament, then dies and gets sent to Hell, and that's where the Hell section of the game takes place, is after Bihan's been killed. And Raiden's like, well, you're already in the Netherrealm, here's what I want you to do. There's this fucking amulet, can you get it for me? He's like, this can redeem all the bad you've done on Earth, and Bihan's like,
yeah.
All right. And then he does all that work, but he can't be saved, and then he gets corrupted into Noob Saibot, and that's one more reason he hates Raiden's guts. He's like, bro, being a good guy sucks.
All this work.
I think the most impactful part of the story is the fact that at the end of the story, Bihan is concerned about Quan Chi's claims that, the only reason you can be in the Netherrealm is because there's evil in your soul. And he's like, is that true, Raiden? He's like, well, yeah. And it's like, so you kind of get this impression that concerns him. And then when you add the context of his MK1 ending, that in that ending he retires. It adds the context, and then the fact that he has a brother as well from other games.
Yeah.
It kind of comes together to paint this picture of he's really concerned about this life of an assassin. He wants out, and that the killing Shang Tsung is like the one last mission, and he dies during it and leaves his brother behind. And so
this is all so much more interesting than NetherRealm.
Yes.
Yeah, especially with this particular character. That motherfucker right there. Somehow he's like the worst he's ever been under NetherRealm.
In Liu Kang's timeline, he's somehow worse.
I do not lose.
I want to say to everyone watching real quick, the reason why I think that Mythologies is so underrated is because a lot of your favorite characters debut in this game. So like you get Serena, you get the Sisterhood of Shadow, you get Quan Chi, you get Shinnok, you get the NetherRealm apparently, which wasn't even a thing until this game. So that's interesting too.
There was the Hell stage.
Oh,
and I think, yeah. Well, I'm then think of MK4, but MK4 came after. So, this was kind of the point where they started to explore Hell. Up to then, it was literally one stage in MK3, which is just for Scorpion, I guess. So like this was the first exploration of the Netherrealm as a concept, and it's way more interesting in this game than any other because it's not just fire and blood.
True.
You have like an actual ocean, and you have like these technological stuff, and there's like robots.
Yes,
stuff.
you have dinosaurs.
Way more interesting. Yeah, there's just crazy bullshit, and it's like, it's way more interesting than just, we're just doing the Christianity thing again. Oh, fuck's sake.
Yeah, I mean, the NetherRealm actually feels like a unique, wondrous place in Mythologies. I feel like, I was thinking while y'all were talking about it, if they actually did hire a good team to make a single-player experience, and it's just this game again, same story pretty much, but of course made better, the setting is a lot of fun to play with. Be a really cool hack and slash or Shaolin monks kind of game that takes place in these settings because they're all pretty cool. You have like the monk temple or like that he steals from. You have the wind temple, which is interesting. You have that cool water stage. You have Hell. The NetherRealm. It's got a lot of fun places.
Yeah, the way you two put it, I feel like Mythologies is pretty justifiably can be underrated. Like I feel like that it is actually got some pretty cool stuff in it, and it's also kind of a short story, so it's not like you need to like talk about the grand theme of things or the turn of all the world. It's like no, just like it's a mission, just like an isolated story. Like you can play it or not, it won't affect the main playthrough or the main storyline. But it's just kind of nice to know that it's there and you can like learn more about Bihan and all these other characters and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I like it being in underrated. Good placement, dog. Great placement there.
Thanks.
So
Yeah, the more I learn about Mythologies, the more I like it. I learn more each time I do a little bit of research on it, and it makes me happier each time.
yeah, I'm excited to play that game someday just to talk about the story.
Fortunately, the Legacy Collection has some cheats like for rewinding and whatnot. So when they eventually get into a stable place, then you can use those cheats to help make the experiencing the story easier.
Yes,
exactly. So that's a good thing.
So
yeah, I think that's a good thing. So again, I actually forgot about this game because while we're talking about it, Special Forces. I literally know nothing about this game, so I feel like it's up to.
Here's the story, right? The story is that
but you guys keep talking. I need to use the bathroom.
Go ahead,
I'm
Snake.
explaining the story for you.
just to review Special Forces.
Well, actually, if Sonic's going to use the bathroom, I probably should too, actually, and we'll just take a little mini break. Otherwise, I have to go at a different time, and it'll break it all up. Snake, entertain the people. Oh, entertain them.
All right then. Well, I'm Kung Lao. I'm gonna do some Kung Lao bit. I'm gonna go. And editing Sonic, you speed that up so it looks not lame and silly. It's also tricky because I have very little space to move around here, so I can't really just go nutso with it. So, Hyrule Warriors, I've only managed to get one session in because I've been busy otherwise with this and work and whatnot. But yeah, it's pretty good so far. I'm curious to know whether this story will actually deviate from the canon like the last one did, or if it's just gonna do its own thing. I hate the switch to like the big red thing there. It looks hideous. I don't like it. The game itself is pretty good so far. I'm curious to see what this guy who looks like Link is actually all about. Who is he? Who is this Link-like figure who just literally has Link's movesets? It's pretty funny. So we'll see. Look at him go. I might start making videos actually explaining some of these silly little costumes. But like, here's how you make them. I mean, some people might not realise, but this is actually an undershirt. It was tough to find one that is like long sleeved and like flesh adjacent colour, but like when I'm over here, it's like you can't really tell all that easily. If I get just the right position, it's like yes, I'm just no, it's clothes, so it's tricky. And now that Sonic's back, he has to entertain the audience while I go to get something for myself because Dog's on for his bathroom break. I need to go get something.
What's that about Dog? Huh? What, you talking shit?
Oh,
heard you were talking shit.
But both at the same time.
So you guys already reviewed Special Forces, right? You guys are done with Special Forces?
We didn't even start because I had to use the restroom too. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought you guys already got rid of Special Forces. I mean, it's the worst one. We don't really need to say.
Well, I
anything
am
else,
curious to
right?
hear what Snake has to say about it because maybe he knows something that I don't. But
I can just summarise the whole story, right? So, Kano busts out of prison with his Black Dragon compatriots. Jax is alerted, and then he goes round and beats the crap out of all of them. And Kano goes to some other realm, I think it's an Outworld, to get this gem, this magic gem. And this is pre-MK1. But, Jax and Kano aren't supposed to know about magic in Outworld prior to MK1.
True.
Oops.
Big plot hole. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's...
Also, Jax has his metal arms, which he should not.
Yeah, that was supposed to be explained. That is just like a prototype of what he was in MK3, and that was all it was supposed to. That's what it was supposed to be. But half the stuff in the story got scrapped, including Sonya and Cabal and Kano with both eyes. In fact, although Cabal's character model is still in the game, I'm not sure if it's a generic enemy or if it's like a one-off. Because I haven't played the game since before I learned that, but you can find a guy with Cabal's model from the prototype and kill him. So yeah, so we probably would have learned a lot more interesting stuff originally, but then they just had to scrap it when John Tobias and half the team left. So
Snake,
yeah,
you just reminded me
basically nothing.
Snake, you just reminded me of a random fact that's interesting. The one good thing about the Legacy Collection is apparently it's an easier game to break and dig into the files than previous things. So people Interloco or just data miners and stuff have found interesting stuff in there, like extra alt costumes and stuff for characters, and that's kind of interesting. That are just unused. It's kind of cool for like MK4 and stuff mainly.
Oh, that's
like
cool.
Sonya has this weird like Zero suit where she's just meat from the neck down. It's weird. Off topic, I know.
I know. I'm gonna bring up something off topic in just a bit too. So this is the worst one, right? You guys just just put it on the trash tier, right?
It's not offensive the way MK11 is. It's just nothing.
There's nothing there. Yeah,
but I feel like that's good enough to put it as a trash tier if it's just nothing too.
So it's there for different reasons, but there's just nothing to this story. Maybe the original concept was going to be a lot more interesting because it actually had Sonya and Kano in it. So, but no, as it stands, Special Forces lasting legacy is that cheesy intro and introducing Tremor.
that's true.
I guess there's a couple of the other
that.
characters, right? Like, what was it? Burnface? I forgot his name.
No
Face.
Face.
No
No
Face.
Face only ever came back in
And Tasia?
Snowblind.
Right?
Yeah, Tasia was in the comic, the MKX comic for a couple of scenes.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's all that's all that results from this game. It's really bad.
Man, in
There we
hindsight,
go.
No Face would be a really interesting character if he had a power similar to Havoc, where he can heal damage, just not his face for some reason. Maybe it happened before he got his powers or something. But imagine if he had moves, because Flamethrower Man is boring. But imagine now if he's Flamethrower Man who purposely explodes his tank and stuff to like fly across the screen, but it hurts him. Or just all this like goofy shit, like Deadpool style. I hurt myself to hurt you. That would be way more interesting.
Imagine that twist. Kano's been hanging out with this guy for years, and then he finds out you're from Chaos Realm. He's like, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, why don't you tell me? Just like, 'cause it's funny.
Yeah.
Weirdly enough, though, everything you said about there is just like, well, why not just do Havoc or have Havoc do that? And it's like, I almost feel like if you want to do No Face, like you do want to lean into the pyromancy, which there are a lot of characters who do that too.
Yeah,
Here's
too much
the reason
pyromancy
why.
already.
Here's why you don't just have Havoc do
right.
it, because there's no other Chaos Realmers. So let's have
True.
another guy who's chaotic and he's like spinning around, like like when Havoc like spins his body around, but he's got a flamethrower on his back when he's doing it. So he's spinning all directions, blowing himself
Another
up.
Chaos
Like,
Realmer. Yeah, that'd be a cool
all this
remix.
crazy stuff.
You could also make
like,
it to
the
where
most chaotic guy.
What if instead of it being a flamethrower, it's like that weapon in the first BioShock that like it's a chemical gun. You can change it to like freeze or to burn or to
Mr.
acid or
Alchemist.
something.
Yeah,
you
I
can
would
like
like
change
these.
it. It could even change randomly. Like you press a button to change it, but you don't know what it's going to change to, and that leans into his chaos thing. Yeah.
And then you make it's like, oh well, he's got a fucked up face. How did that happen? What was it? Flamethrower? And he tells one guy, oh, I burned myself. Another guy, oh, it was like what's it
Experiment
called
gone
when it's too
wrong.
cold?
No, I got these
when
scars.
When it freezes off, what's it called? What's it called when it freezes off?
Sub-Zero? No.
When it turns black and freezes. Frostbite.
Frostbite.
So, no, it's frostbite. Dog, come on, you should have been there.
Oh,
So,
sorry.
He says another guy is frostbite, and it's like you know how the Joker's like, want to know how I got these scars?
Yeah,
And
he
has
comes up with a
answers
different story
everybody.
for everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah. That'd be cute.
And then you get two characters who intro just talking like about that weird fire guy, and he's like, fire? It's ice. He froze himself off. He's like, what? No, he burned himself. What are you talking about, you motherfucker? Why are you lying to me to start fighting?
Yeah. And then it's like, nah, it turns out it was a birthmark.
Before we continue, I just wanted to share this because this just came up on my Twitter. I thought it was so funny. There's a guy who made a video being like, Mortal Kombat 2, Lewis Tan might become Ermac in Mortal Kombat 2. How this could be his role going forward. But no, that's not the funniest part. The funniest part is that Todd Garner replied to him, he might not. That's why I was like laughing.
Here.
Yes, moment of silence. Moment of silence. Yes, moment of silence for this poor individual. Got called out by the producer, but he might not.
That's so good. Just cuts him off dead. Well, this is Future Boy who was infamous for always making shit up, I think.
Oh, okay.
I could be wrong.
that's
I'm
funny.
sorry if I'm wrong, Future Boy who, but I think you're one of the people I was told, like, he will find any reason to post about anything, like any random fan theory, which would be fine if he just said it was a theory, but I think for a while he was stating it as fact, and that's what got people upset.
I see. It just showed up on my timeline. I just thought that was so funny. Now we are getting into the 3D era stuff. This is
The good
Snake's
shit.
fave. The good shit, exactly. The Deadly Alliance. So, what I find very interesting is I feel like the majority of people will only talk about that intro, but like the story of Deadly Alliance is sort of like reading a novel, right? It's like because a lot of the lore is like the techs in that. What's that game mode? Is it the story mode or what's it called? It's Conquest. I was thinking like is it kind of Conquest? But yeah, you're just kind of reading a lot of text on what happens, which might be boring to many people. But if you're just looking at it for the fact, it's like, oh, this is just like world building. This is like what happened in these situations, and
Yeah.
I think, in my opinion, I like Deadly Alliance a lot because of Snake's video about his Deadly Alliance like retrospective video. Like that's like, oh, very cool video the way he describes Deadly Alliance.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just really neat the fact that it's very unique in that the characters are so spread out. Like you'll get characters like, oh, here's Cyrax, Reptile, and Nitara doing their own thing, basically disconnected from everyone else. There's some connections here or there, but they're doing their thing. Kenshi is sent to find Cyrax. He couldn't give less of a shit. He's off to find Shang Tsung. Yep. And so all these different characters with these different dynamics and these smaller stories that all come together into this. It makes the whole world feel bigger rather than everybody's involved in this one plot. Because if this story was told now, it would straight up be all the good guys versus all the bad guys. And all the bad guys wouldn't be plotting against each other. Or if they are, it would get like one mention. Because like a big part of it is like Kano and Movado are both working for the Deadly Alliance, plotting against each other. And the Deadly Alliance are like kind of each working with one against the other.
Yeah.
And like, so it's really interesting when you piece it together. Like, well, like, and like maybe that's why Kano's captured, because Quan Chi sells him out to Movado to kill Kenshi, you know, like all this stuff like that.
That's why the only annoying thing about Deadly Alliance is deception, because I feel like a lot of these stories were going to go somewhere, and then someone decided, no, they're just all dead.
For the intro for Deception, I suppose, yeah.
Even Kung Lao's entire arc is sad, because his entire point was learning this new move to get strong enough to defeat the Deadly Alliance, and then he learns it, he masters it, he overcomes his second character syndrome, you know, and becomes the new main character. He's dead. It's not even described how he died, he's just dead.
Yeah, it depends how you want to look at it, because you can either look at it as, well, it was all pointless then, or it's a tragedy and that's the point. That Liu Kang is that important, and that the heroes just weren't prepared.
It's also confusing because some endings are canon and some aren't, and you have to like figure out which ones are and aren't. Whereas in previous games, it was like, oh, none of these are canon, or they all are. With MK,
well, no, like, it was always like that. That's how fighting games were.
I don't know. I feel like with MK1 and 2, they're all not canon for the most part, because they're all just like, oh, this character beats the main villain, which we know they don't, except for Liu Kang. But with Deadly Alliance, I think like 90% are true. But
there are quite a few in 3 and 4 that are canon.
Yeah, okay. Gotcha.
Yes,
I think it's interesting is that thing you're saying about Dog. It's like they're building this all up, and then the moment you start Deception, it all doesn't matter because they fail. What I think it's interesting is if you don't think about Deception, then you would see like it's building up the story, and then if you only look at Deadly Alliance, then the arcade ending is your character defeating the Deadly Alliance. So it's like, oh, you get to win against the Deadly Alliance and see what happens. But it's until the next game do we.
It also continues
exactly
the idea of
happens.
MK4, but it does it better, because the Jarek Sonya Jax thing is really stupid. But Deadly Alliance does something similar, where you get Natara's story, which takes place after Cyrax's story, which leads into Reptile's story. And that's kind of interesting how they're linked, but they're also their own stories separately. So it's not like you need them all to make sense, but they are if you want to beat the game with all three of them. The whole story is now kind of put together.
Yes.
That's interesting as well. Could have been done better, obviously, but...
I remember Snake mentioned it's like Deadly Alliance kind of feels like looking at a Souls-like story, where it's like you can just play the game and don't care about the story, and you might not understand it. But if you look at the item descriptions, if you look at what the NPCs are saying, then it's like, oh, this city was mentioned here. Oh, this weapon is also brought here, and all that kind of stuff. You kind of piece together the story based off of the interactions and like what happens with this and that character. The more you play, the more you try to understand Deadly Alliance. It's like that's the way the story is being told in that game, and I think that's kind of an interesting way to like tell your story in a fighting game too.
I wanted to say something. I think Snake's brought this up before, and I forgot what he said about it, but I'm noticing this now too. You almost want to think that Kano's ending is canon because he has Sonya's hair on his necklace, but I don't think but then even in the ending where he kills Sonya, he already has the hair necklace. So I'm like, what?
Oh no, that's from MK3.
He got her hair during MK3?
Yes, there is one of the lore items you can get in Deadly Alliance is the fight atop a skyscraper, And I think it's also mentioned in Conquest that they were fighting on the skyscraper. She kicked him off, and he took some of her hair with him. And so that's what that is.
Gotcha. So it's not even. It's less about him like being a stalker and wanting her hair. It's that, but combined with he almost died and he wants to remember that incident. Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It was a neat little detail.
I like underrated, but at the same time, maybe a bit higher. What do you guys think? I think underrated also works with Deadly Alliance because nobody. We didn't really mention it here, but I do think the intro is very cool, especially for a fighting game back in the day. It's like, the main character and the main villain die from these established other villains. So you didn't think they were going to be this strong.
Yeah.
Oh, whoa.
I think that's one of the things that helps with it. It's not like Devora comes in and kills two major characters. It's like, well, these are characters who've been around, and so it feels like, even though realistically it doesn't make a difference, it does feel less contrived. It doesn't feel like, here's our new character, look how cool and powerful they are. It's, let's give these characters their day in the spotlight. And one of them is final boss tier, and Quan Chi is technically the final boss of Mythologies because the Shinnok one's a bit more of a puzzle. So they are established as being very powerful, so it makes sense. Plus, it's both of them together, so it doesn't feel as contrived as a lot of other stories could be, where it's like, oh yeah, here's fucking Heihachi's dead father back as a fucking devil zombie or whatever the fuck. Like, come on.
The only downside, like many point out, is that the way Liu Kang goes out is kind of stupid because he would tank that first fireball probably, but it's like, the budget ran out. You know, they spent all the budget on showing Liu Kang mollywop Shang Tsung. When realistically it'd be more like JoJo Part 5, where they'd be attacking him at once from both sides constantly, like trying to throw in hits and stuff, you know. And that would eventually probably overwhelm him, which is more so the idea.
But yeah, it's
in other words, like the death of Liu Kang as a concept makes more sense than what you actually get shown, which is clearly similar to Armageddon. It's just like a dramatization of what happened.
Yeah, where do we put it? What do you guys think?
Yeah, I would say it's probably like second tier, because all the pieces are very good. It's just like, I feel like if it did end with like Kung Lao, the culmination of Kung Lao's arc, it might go into like the top tier. But because we do learn that a lot of this stuff kind of is somewhat undermined by everyone just losing.
Yeah.
Again, you can argue that it's meant to be a tragedy, but that's not kind of the way it was seen, and so I think you have to take into consideration what fans expected and then what we end up getting in the next game. I do think that somewhat it's undermined a little, but like the pieces are there for something really solid.
Yeah, I agree with that statement. What do you think, Dog? Do you want to bump it up once? Because I don't mind.
I put it where I wanted it to be. Don't ask me that question. You guys can choose to move stuff around.
All right, you're putting the decision for me. I'm gonna put it above because I actually do think I think it's cooler than just Mythologies and Mortal Kombat 2. Why not? I'm gonna be nice. I'm gonna make your ADHD worse, Dog. Now the tier list looks very messy because I put it above.
ADHD? You mean OCD? Gotcha. Yeah.
Sorry, OCD.
Which I don't actually have. I'm just joking, obviously, because OCD is a crippling condition. I don't have that, but
yeah.
I do like to see things organized. And
ironically, I do think Deadly Alliance is an underrated game. People don't really like gas it up when talking about the 3D era stuff and whatnot. But I think
it's usually Deception, which like Deception is overall a better game, so that gets the love. And then you get Armageddon with all of its things going on, and it plays differently. But Deadly Alliance is basically like gameplay-wise like a prototype for Deception, so it doesn't get the love that it deserves.
Is there a reason to talk about Deception? I think we all know its peak.
Yeah, I agree. The funny thing is, I think Deception, maybe the story isn't like super duper amazing, but I feel like the worldview and what you do, and also it's the Mortal Kombat Bible. Like, that's the aspect that I think that I love the most. It's just like, oh, this is really fucking cool that you get to go to all these realms, interact with all these characters, learn their stories, do their quests, and all that kind of stuff. And I think Shujinko is a pretty good main character too, and I like seeing his like arc and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And Onaga.
It fleshed out the world so well, and whereas this is where Armageddon's Conquest doesn't work as well, because it does give everybody on the roster an appearance, even the ones who aren't on the roster. Like, you get small appearances by Kano or like Rain and Reptile. They show up in the Conquest mode, sometimes part of the main story, sometimes not. And basically Conquest ends, and then it's like, go play the arcade mode, finish the story. Whereas Armageddon doesn't really do that. Armageddon's just like, no, this is the story. Just get a bit more information when you do it as Taven, the arcade mode. So this is like, when people say they want some kind of like a big. This is what people want. People want this mode to come back, specifically Deception's Conquest mode, because it was so well done. It wouldn't be the same if they did it now, because obviously you have to consider the budget and whatnot. But there's so much to do, and it's not just go through the story and that's it. There are all these optional side quests. You can just track down a character and fight them to get new moves for Shujinko, or go to this particular place on this date on the map at this time, and Liu Kang shows up and you fight him and you get him as a playable character. It's just full of secrets. Cool. It fleshes out the world. Like the story, it's not like the most amazing one, but it's a fine story, like about this kid being taken advantage of and used in this villainous plot, and then he gets his shot at redemption at the end. There are some shortcomings, like the way the time frame of events is a bit wonky because of certain plot elements that may or may not have been removed during development. But overall, it's very good. And again, it's not just Shujinko's story. Everyone else still has their stuff going on once we get to the present day. So you got Sub-Zero teaming up with Kenshi. You get the return of Baraka and Melina. We get Tanya doing her thing. And then all these other characters just showing up like, well, where's Nightwolf been? Here's Nightwolf. Hey, what are you doing, buddy? And then we also get, of course, the corruption of Raiden and Liu Kang, which doesn't really mean anything for Deception, although it could have been if Shujinko's death in Raiden's ending was canon, but it's not. But, it lays a solid foundation for where the story could go next. And I do think that does matter. Because even if it's not directly affecting the story itself, it's like, where you leave off when you finish the story, well, what's going to happen next, what information we've been given, what's been set up, that is still a factor in this story, I feel. So in the same way like Dark Raiden MKX is part of that story. Even if it's just as a set up the next game.
Yeah, it's like, oh my gosh, like after everything that happened, he turned to Dark Raiden. Like that is, even though that's setting for the next game, that is like a conclusion point to like, ooh. But yeah, so I think I actually forgot. I was just talking about the things I like about Conquest mode, but you're right. There are things that they establish later on too and whatnot. And I guess like Shujinko coming with that plan to defeat Onaga, which makes like that arcade ending specifically canon too. I think it's an interesting way to wrap up the story and whatnot. But yeah, we all think it's peak Armageddon. So the funny thing is what.
I said Rutro, not the Armageddon, not back to the point list here. Uh-oh.
Yeah, we gotta talk about it. We gotta rank this. The ironic thing about Armageddon is, out of all the 3D era games, I barely remember what happened in the story of Armageddon, personally. It's like, because I remember I watched a walkthrough of it a long time ago, but I'm like, what happens in the story, like, I don't really remember too much. I really gotta go back to it eventually. But Armageddon as a game and as what people talk about, like the three biggest things people will talk about is that intro, the roster, and create a character. Do they talk about the story mode? Do they talk about the beat 'em up mode of Taven and what they do in there? Not much, unfortunately. Yeah. Impact-wise, I don't think the story mode itself was really there. But how good was the story mode? Snako.
Well, like I said, Deception did a very good job of tying in a lot of characters to this story. You interact with lots of characters. You do interact with quite a few in this one, but most of the time it's just you meet them once, fight them because, and then you move on. And some get a whole level dedicated to them, like Sector has a level because he was a big thing to bring him back. He'd been gone for a while, but the actual core story, like I feel like the characters who play the biggest roles in the story would be like Sub-Zero, because you go to his temple to get your armor, and like Shinnok manipulates you at one point. I
remember Shinnok. But I thought that was kind of interesting, at least.
But for the most part, it's just these new characters. The actual core MK characters don't have much going on. And whereas Deception's Conquest mode ends leading into the current story, this one runs right through to the end. Like the story that everyone else is involved in is just running parallel to the end, and then Taven just goes right through them. You don't even get, like, it doesn't end. Like, I think if it at least ended going, Blade's going, come face me, and then it's like, go play Taven in arcade mode. I think that would have brought it a little higher, but no, it's
Okay.
just... No, you just jump right to it. You don't fight your way through like Sub-Zero and Noob Saibot and Jax to
That would
get
make
your way
so
to the
much
top
more
of the
sense.
pyramid.
Yeah, holy shit.
Yeah, like, it's just no, you just do it.
That's an immediately better
Just
idea,
fight.
Snake. Good job. That's awesome.
Yeah, the pyramid fight really is just like their way of doing like an arcade ladder. I feel like it's like, oh, you're climbing the pyramid, the arcade ladder. So it's like the entire story mode is just leading into that final battle. And I guess during that time, it's up to you to decide who gets to win that pyramid climb to get that arcade ending in a way. So it's like such a fighting game idea to do like that pyramid and whatnot.
The problem is, it's like an older fighting game where all the endings are this character wins. So therefore, it's like one ending can be canon out of 63.
Yes.
The rest can't be canon, and one of them is supported by Conquest Mode itself. Because Taven's arcade ending is slightly different. It's narrated by the normal narrator, whereas in Conquest Mode he narrates it, and so you get a bit of extra information, but it's still the same. So, and a lot of the endings, because there are so many, are really shit. Like Sub-Zero is Sub-Zero. He's got the ice. He's got the power now. He's now an ice god. Oh, the Elder Gods didn't anoint him as an ice god though, so they're going to send their champions to kill him.
Don't forget, they're also just always doing like the same kung fu
Yeah.
moves.
It's
And
not
then
always the
it's like,
same, but they do reuse a lot of them. That is true.
Yeah.
I want to say too, some of them get really interesting, like complicated endings for no reason. Like Kentaro's is so fucking ridiculous. It's like he got 4 different weapons, each infused with the strongest warriors.
I don't remember this.
Yeah, and some of them are just dumb. Like oh, Sonya Blade gets the power to glare people to death, and she does
What?
it to all the criminals.
Yeah.
Glare, like just stare at them and
Yes.
they die or something.
Just goes, and Kato's like, ah! Turns to dust. and like then there's just like the weird. So many involved characters being transformed or mind controlled or other bullshit. Like Shang Tsung turns Shao Kahn into his centaur slave. Why a centaur? Why
Okay.
not?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah, and then. So I think that these are weird and dumb endings, and most of them are obviously non-canon from the get-go, but
Yeah.
they are ultimately part of the story because it's not resolved yet, and these endings, a lot of them are just dire. And again, I get why, because they had to write so many of them, and so they're going to be overlap. But you see that in MK11, it's like, well, one of the reasons Jax's ending is focused on slavery, I guess, is because Johnny Cage is the family man ending. So you can't do that with both of them; that'd be too
Can't
repetitive. So they both need
copy-paste,
different
I
things.
suppose, yeah.
Yeah. So, and that can lead to some bad decisions, but you get some really bad endings here. Unfortunately, a lot of these characters, that's literally all the story they get. Like even when Kentaro shows up in the story, he's just a doppelganger. The real Kentaro story is he walks up first of all the villains and goes raw.
That's it.
And then in his ending, he gets the powers of like Scorpion, Sub-Zero, like 2 other dudes, and then he just like kills all the other bad guys. What the?
Cute.
What? And that's all he gets, and some characters get even less.
I kind
You
of
know,
want to
like-
ask this because, like, I know that in the Wii version they add the female chameleon. Did the female chameleon ever get an ending, or was it only the male
Yes.
one? She did.
She has
Okay,
one.
I forgot about hers, but I do find the male chameleon one to be very funny. Literally, the franchise itself acknowledges. Like, he's so mysterious, he never existed until now, until this one moment where he gets his glory. He's been waiting for so long. I thought that was really funny. I like reptiles because he fucks.
Also, the conquest mode has very little replay value because it's just the same story, and it's all linear. There's no side quests. The only reason to really go back is just to get the other collectibles if you miss them, and that's kind of it. So it's not bad. It's just the bar was set pretty high by Deception, and they were but they were trying to make it play a bit more like Shaolin monks, and unfortunately, it didn't quite live up to that. And the story is very narrowly focused.
This was after Shaolin Monks, right?
Yes.
Ooh, and the combat isn't better. Ooh, unfortunate.
It was made by a different team.
Okay, in my opinion, I think is a pretty good tier for this then.
Yeah, because again, the core concept is everybody comes back, everyone is here, and then our story is this new dude is trying to fight his brother, who's also a new dude, because of a prophecy by their parents, who are also new dudes. And at the end, you fight Blaze, who is unrecognizable. And so it basically feels completely disconnected from everything, even except when occasionally a character shows up. Scorpion's like, "Hey, I'm here because I'm here for these reasons. Let us fight." Yeah. And then you fight Scorpion, and then he's done. Yeah, like Shujinko actually met certain characters multiple times, and there was more going on. So it really fails to live up to the premise of Armageddon. Everyone is here.
Everyone is here.
Yeah, I feel
Which
like...
is why people talk about the intro more than the actual story mode, because that is the one where they're all like, "Oh my gosh, I can see that character, I can see that character, oh," and whatnot. But the story itself, it's like, where's my favorite?
Yeah,
what are they doing?
Because to in comparison, because Conquest in Deception is the setup to the main story. It leads up to it, and then you play the arcade mode, and that's the main story. All the characters on the roster, they're in the current, they're in the here and now. Shujinko's just setting that up. In Armageddon, though, it's like that intro basically is the story for most of these characters.
They show up in Conquest as
scene is the story. That's the whole story. So in a way, you could go, yeah, the story of Armageddon, big fight.
Big fight. Yeah.
Yeah, and then and there weren't even any bios in the game. They released 16 of them after launch, just on the website. And that's how we know details like Johnny Cage is the one who gathers everyone. That's how we learn that Raiden is the one who resurrected Liu Kang's corpse. These details were given there, not even in the game itself. So
that's kind of funny.
I don't know if it's a time constraint or something, but they've really dropped the ball with the story in Armageddon, so it's very meh.
Armageddon makes no sense the more you analyze it, because you look at Taven and it's like, hey, what if we made Shujinko, but just he didn't earn it and he's way less interesting? Because his entire path is set for him. There's like no hero's journey for him even, you know? So
he's a god. He's born a god.
He's not only born a god, but every power-up is laid out for him too. Like, he's given more power-ups along the way from his parents, you know? Like, it's so boring. Yeah. It could have at least been interesting if Dagon wanted to not do the prophecy at all, but no, it's like he just wants to do it for himself and make sure that he wins. And it's like, okay, well, that's less interesting than him wanting to just say fuck the prophecy altogether, and maybe giving Taven the option to join him, and Taven goes, no, I'm going to fulfill the destiny, and he goes, well, then I must destroy you. That would be like way more interesting, but no, he lets it know from the word go that he wants to kill Taven, so it's way less interesting. Yeah.
Armageddon really be like, y'all got any good story? We have hype moments and aura.
The way you describe it, Snake, reminds me of a very certain movie, Kung Fu Panda 4. It's like the marketing of that movie was like, we're bringing back classic villains. The main villain can use classic villain stuff.
The Sonic Forces method.
90% of the fucking movie is not that. 90% of it. It's like the very last, like, less than, I don't know, 3-4 minutes. Oh, he's starting to use references. She's starting to do something, and then she just fucks off and becomes like an amalgamation of like a fucking. Kung Fu Panda 4 really sucks.
This is why I never watch trailers anymore, because they lie to you. Like, used to, trailers just spoiled stuff. Now trailers just lie to you.
So Armageddon is actually, the way you guys put it. Would you guys want to put it like in really bad or above it? Like, or mid? I wouldn't mind putting it below mid.
I mean, yeah, I honestly want to put it in pretty bad. If it's not going to go in pointless, I'd put it in pretty bad. Maybe not quite trash, but for me, it's bordering on trash level. Like, the Armageddon story, a lot of people, when they show up, like Snake said, they're just member berries. Like Sonya shows up like, oh, by the way, I'm Sonya Blade on a mission. Ooh woo, and then just dips.
Yeah.
Ooh woo.
Yeah, it's like some cases, it's like, why is Sonya here? Oh, you're in the frozen tundra, you're going against Sector, it's a special forces character, why is it not Cyrex? You know, like sometimes they don't even pick the right characters, but yeah, I feel like after that whole thing I went on about how it fails to live up to its promise and concept of Armageddon, everybody is here, I can't put it any higher than pretty bad.
The only thing that's slightly the only thing slightly interesting about Armageddon to me that feels almost original is Reptile's weird side story, where he's trying to make, like, he's been hired by the Dagon and Red Dragon to make human lizard hybrid people, and Kano's going to be one of their guinea pigs. That's kind of hilarious and very bizarre. I like to imagine Reptile said, damn it, Shinnok said no to reviving my race. There's no way to get him back. I'm just gonna settle for these weird freakish hybrids.
Hey, settle for the next best thing. What's it called? I can't give too much of it because I really don't remember much that happens in Armageddon. Maybe I'll replay it someday, but okay.
You didn't miss
I put it
much.
in really bad.
You didn't miss much. There's not much story
I
there.
saw the intro. That's enough, basically. Now, before we get into the... Oh, no, actually, don't forget about... Yeah, before getting into the NRS eras, we got one more game we got to go through. Shaolin Monks.
Do we? I thought we said that Shaolin Monks was bad.
Shaolin Monks Kung Lao just fell. Him specifically.
Oh, shit.
It's over.
Right as I say it,
Kung
too.
Lao, no.
It's a sign.
No.
It's a
It's
sign.
over.
I personally have to ask a question to True Underdog.
Ow, fuck, my knees.
Ow. Oh. Anyways, so how did you consume Shaolin Monk's story mode, Jonah Dog? How did you watch cutscenes or did you watch like a summary video?
I watched like mainly your summary video and stuff. Yeah, I don't know
Oh, my video.
too much about the extra stuff, and I don't even think it's a bad story. I just think it's what did I put? I put it in mid or something, right? Let's see here.
You put it in mid.
Yeah.
Yes, you put it in mid.
'Cause
That's
the
too
whole-
high.
When I say mid in my tier list, I mentioned multiple times how mid is my way of saying serviceable. Like it's there. That's about it. Like it's there to do its job, and pretty much about it. I did say that I like the idea of Shang Tsung being Raiden, and it's never explained exactly when he is. But I do think it would have been cooler if we never knew that he was impersonating. But we kind of do know that he's impersonating Raiden right away. Is the problem, but we don't know when. But we do know he starts immediately because. We see, I forget how I know, but there's like an immediate plot hole that tells you immediately that that's not Raiden in that scene. It's got to be Shang Tsung because didn't Raiden even outright say that he can't go there or something? And then he shows up and you're like, well, that's not Raiden then. Because he can't do that.
So, if you want to really know when it's Raiden and Shang Tsung, there is actually a different lightning color. But also, basically, every time after Raiden says, I'm going to go, like, I can't be near you guys, I'm going to go scout ahead or something like that, from that point on, it's never real Raiden.
Yeah, exactly.
Pretty sure.
I like how you also mentioned
Something like that.
the story of Shaolin Monks also takes one of the theories from the first Mortal Kombat game that Snake's also talked about, but makes it the actual canon where some of these fights and these side missions were just a ploy by Shang Tsung because it's making him stronger, right? He's consuming their souls off screen and powering himself up. And that's interesting. I think that's okay. Like on paper, some of these ideas are cool. The problem is Shaolin Monks has such a goofy, campy plot and dialogue. Even serious moments are taken way too lightly, like Katana's best friend being murdered. She was my best friend, and you killed her. Anyway, I'm over it.
No, I think the best part about that is that line. Oh, what was it? I do not blame you for this, Jade. That's the funniest shit in that entire fucking game.
Well, because you can play
Just,
Jade
like,
and kill
cuts to
Jade.
her.
Yeah.
No. I meant like, I do not blame you for this, Jade. Cuts to her dead body. Like, it's just like, as she says that.
Oh, I see, yeah.
It also like the Baraka like kills that when Shaolin Monks come on. It's like, are you okay? And whatnot. Like those
So
are just
good.
like one of some of the best things. Here's the thing, dog. The way you describe Shaolin Monks can work if that's what you got out of the story mode, which is you turn your brain off. You just see them going through the realms and doing all the shenanigans. Oh, maybe Shang Tsung betrayal. Oh, we got go to cool here. We fight the boss. We finally get to the final boss and fight Shao Kahn. Look at the cool references. You turn your brain off. That's fine. But if you actually try to engage with the story, that's where it gets fucked up. That's where things start to go like, what do you mean? Huh? It's like, oh, wow. Shang Tsung is like actually using Liu Kang and Kung Lao, and that's why he's trying to gather the souls and like the people they kill to empower himself. That was the plan. But then it's like, okay, then why did he like try to kill them early on then? If the whole plan was to get them to kill like other people, like Shang Tsung deliberately tries to kill Liu Kang and Kung Lao during certain parts in the story mode. Then during certain parts in the story mode, Shang Tsung deliberately tries not to kill them.
I mean, that's not really a plot hole because I mean he's trying to make sure he can beat them, but also if he can kill them earlier, that's not really against his main goal, which is to kill them. It's just one's the long game and one's the short game.
Yeah, but he's also trying to get stronger to kill Shao Kahn.
Oh, he is? I didn't know about the Shao Kahn part. Gotcha.
Yes, he says it at the end of the game. So it's like, wait, but I thought you were trying to empower yourself to like beat Shao Kahn. Why are you trying to kill Liu Kang and Kung Lao now? And then also one part that really breaks my brain was like, like at the very end of the game, it's like, oh my gosh, it's a plot twist. Holy shit, Shang Tsung has been sucking all the souls to empower himself this whole time, and we've been helping him. But in the middle of the game, before they go fight Baraka, Kung Lao straight up says, should we be killing people? Because like it's just gonna empower Shang Tsung, so should we just stop fighting? Like literally, they fucking say the plot twist in the middle of the game already.
Damn.
I'm telling you, trying to analyze my Shaolin Monks video. 40 minutes of it is a recap, and 20 minutes of it is trying to make sense of what the fuck is going on.
It's so bizarre that Kung Lao's the one who says that too, because Kung Lao's always been the character with the more gruesome fatalities and stuff. So you'd think it'd be Liu Kang who goes, well, I wish we didn't have to kill them. And Kung Lao's like, no, you must like destroy your enemy completely because we know they're evil. Like we know that Baraka's never going to redeem himself. It's okay to kill Baraka and like in Reptile as violently as possible, but Liu Kang still has reservations. And then it's like, I knew I was right not to kill him, or I should have not killed him, you know. Also, apparently Shaolin Monks started Kung Lao's downfall as far as his personality, so people bring that up.
Yeah, well, I mean, they didn't take him in the same direction per se, but this is where his arrogance started.
Yeah.
Before then he was a little bland, I guess, but here it's like now he's arrogant and he's a huge cunt.
An asshole. Yes, I have to censor that. I have to censor that, Snake. Yeah, that word. I'm sorry. That one has to be censored.
You are a huge asshole, Kung Lao. This guy right here is a huge asshole. And then, I mean, like I described it, like the way Shang Tsung drives a wedge between the two, it is in both cases is playing on Kung Lao's issues alone. Like he doesn't go, hey Kung Lao, you know that thing about Liu Kang? He's just like, no, hey Kung Lao. You know that thing, you know your problem? Yeah. That's what I'm going to use to drive you away from him. And it's like, it's just that Kung Lao's a huge turd. That's it.
But Liu Kang is also a giant fucking idiot. Like, there are so many parts in the story, it's like, but you are the one noticing the weird things, and then it's like, you're like, I knew it, Kung Lao, you're Shang Tsung, and he's the one who initiates that fight at the end. It's like, look, Kung Lao's like, what? And it hits, Kung Lao's like, you fucking idiot!
Back in the day, when the game first came out, I remember on like the Midway forums, that was one of the biggest criticisms people had of the story was that Liu Kang is so naive. People compared him to Shujinko. Like, that's how bad it was, and
damn.
it really is just like MK2 but less interesting because it's just these two guys doing all the tournament fights while everyone else is just being like misled to not be involved. And then it's like,
right.
Hey, then Jax is there and it's like, oh hey Jax, who are you? And he's like, yeah, Raiden's been guiding me around. It's like, but Raiden's been with us. And then the characters just stop thinking about it until the next cutscene.
Dun, yep. Oh, did you hear that? Did you hear what Snake just said there? Tournament? I'm sorry, the Shaolin Monk story was a fucking tournament? Like, that was a tournament? What the fuck does that mean? What? Huh?
Also, don't forget that for some reason they're allowed to break the rules of the tournament and just handicap match everybody.
It says there that you have completed a tournament fight each time you defeat a boss. It's like, a tournament? What the fuck do you mean a tournament? Huh? I theorize, like, this whole story happens because the Elder Gods weren't doing shit, so Shang Tsung can infiltrate, like, and kill the Shaolin monks there, and then it's like, why aren't the Elder Gods doing anything? What the hell? And then it's like, the reason, my theory is because the Elder Gods planned everything. They're like, yes, Shang Tsung, you can go there and kill Shaolin monks, but at the same time, Liu Kang Kung Lao could go to Outworld and kill whoever the fuck they want. Yes, that way it's fair for everybody, because we don't give a shit. Like, okay, wait, so we can go on about Shaolin monks, because I actually think this game is so hilariously bad in terms of how they try to tell things, and there's just so many things that contradict each other when you're trying to go with shit and whatnot. Like, the only positive, like, story thing that I can say is, like, the first part of the story, the Mortal Kombat 1 aspect of it, I can't see I don't have any issues with that part. Like, that's all fine. They're just escaping the Mortal Kombat island. They have that nice little ending fight, and then we leave the Mortal Kombat 2 shenanigans, and that's where it starts to get really like, oh, what the fuck is going on and whatnot.
What is going on?
Yeah, so Snake, you and I probably agree this isn't trash, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can't think of any. I can't think of good moments that stand out. It's just kind of bad.
The thing is, the good moments are good because of references and like they serve a good purpose in the gameplay. It's like, oh, I'm in the Deadpool. That's pretty cool. Wow, I mean, it doesn't make sense to be here in the story, but whatever.
Oh,
we're in the Deadpool.
There is one really good story moment. Reptile's giant snake.
True.
I do not serve Shang Tsung.
You know what?
Beware of
I think it has to go in peak. A giant snake.
Oh, just for that.
Reptile's giant.
Reptile's design is peak, guys. I'm just saying.
It is cool that Reptile's finally his own side character. The problem is he's not doing anything. He's just not related to Shang Tsung finally, but he's not doing anything either, so it's really weird.
And also, like, that's what he claims, but it's like many people won't remember that line and still think, oh, he's a servant for Shang Tsung, that's why you have to kill him and whatnot. It's
it is, I think, in hindsight, supposed to be your first hint that... Well, it's not the first, but another hint that this is not what you think it is. It's not just you versus the bad guys, that there's some ulterior motive happening. Because why are you killing someone who's not at all related to the story? It's like, well, because you're part of Shang Tsung's plan. But
well, my view of it was always it's supposed to be the first hint that actually Liu Kang and Kung Lao, who don't know the truth, this is not Shang Tsung's plot. There's another guy behind him that you didn't know about somehow. You didn't know about Shao Kahn. You're surprised that it's not Shang Tsung who wants Earth.
Oh yeah,
what?
That's right.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Who's Shao Kahn? Oh, there's so many like Psycho Mantis, second floor basement, like Shao Kahn.
fucking Psycho Mantis.
Shao, what? I'll take Homeboy.
I had a lot of fun making that video back in the day, but that story mode is what's the word, like I can't say the word, incoherent, like there's like a word I'm trying, like it doesn't make sense. It's like they try to say something that makes sense, and it completely doesn't make sense if you break it down. That's why, like I said, if you don't think about the story, it's just Liu Kang, Kung Lao, la-di-do, fighting a bunch of bosses. Oh my goodness.
Whoa.
We gotta stop talking about this. This is like Kung Lao's curse here.
He is still on air. It is the Kung Lao curse. My God, he's always gonna fail.
I will say one positive about Kung Lao though. This is like the only game where Kung Lao is the main character. So like that's kind of his one big W in the entire franchise. If you want a Kung Lao main character story, yes, it is Liu Kang and Kung Lao. It's really both of them, but Kung Lao is a main character in this story.
Well, I'd say he's kind of like at least the Vegeta, right? Where he has more lines, and everyone agrees that he's the more interesting character. His only flaw is having that one stupid moment where he jumps up to fight Shao Kahn by himself and gets completely embarrassed. And Liu Kang is like, "Come on, Kung Lao, we fight as a team."
Well, the thing is, because I believe. Remember, it was said that when they were conceiving the concept of the MK Mythologies series, I think the 4 characters they specifically wanted to make games for were the original Sub-Zero, Jax, Kung Lao, and Baraka.
Yeah,
and
Baraka.
so even though they didn't call them Mythologies because people didn't really care for the first one, they did ultimately follow through on 3 of those. So Baraka never got a game. He should. I want that
Sad.
Baraka action game.
I want that Baraka Wolverine action game, exactly.
Baraka getting a game would be unintentionally peak.
Like say, hey WB, you see this Wolverine game that just came out where Wolverine just like gores people and it made $1 bajillion? Make that with Baraka, you fucks.
The thing
And
is,
Wolverine will go, money? Money. And then they immediately slip on a banana peel and fall down some stairs. It's like, yes, another WB executive eliminated.
Whoa. Okay. In game, in Minecraft.
Not all the way to the end of just eliminated. They are in hospital, not too serious. They're in a country with free healthcare, so it's fine.
I mean, yes, but also there's downsides to that free healthcare. But sure.
Oh wait, that's okay. So time to get into the NRS saga of the story, which again we'll talk about MK vs. DC at the last. Mortal Kombat 9, Mortal Kombat 2011.
Is Poopy Butt Chungus?
So the thing is, this is a very funny thing about Mortal Kombat 9. If you ask the average Mortal Kombat fan, I feel like 90% of people would say that this is the best Mortal Kombat story. I feel like the average MK fan will say like this is like their childhood, this is their favorite, this is the best, and like they wish NRS could go back to as good as this is. And the funniest thing is
average MK fan with the nostalgia goggles.
Yeah, the funniest thing is I think the 3 of us share like that 10%. So you're not really gonna get too much defense from us, unfortunately, because I think all 3 of us have issues with this story and whatnot. Yeah, because I know Dog kind of said it's overrated and he puts it in mid. I made an hour video really going like thoroughly through the entire story, and my conclusion is that the Mortal Kombat 1 aspect really sucks because like Shang Tsung does whatever the fuck he wants and the tournament really is lame. Mortal Kombat 2 aspect is not too bad. The Mortal Kombat 3 aspect is so boring and so bad. Oh, it's so boring but I do like the Striker Tractor. That Striker is pretty fun. But after that, it's so boring. It's so mundane. It's like, really, this is what you can think of Mortal Kombat 3. Then the Sindo happens, and it's extremely bad and extremely like, what the fuck are we doing shenanigans. And I would put it, even with that being said, because it is my first introduction to Mortal Kombat, really, like, I would put it around mid 2 with Dog. Like, I would still say, like, nostalgia baits allows me to still put it around there. And what about you, Snake?
I mean, because with me, it's also its place in the franchise as like where the storytelling really started to go downhill broadly, and the way.
Oh, so that's where it starts. That's where. Okay, okay.
What
I mean, we were shit talking
up,
Armageddon and Shaolin Monks, but okay.
well, what it set up was just. You know, like, even what it says, like, oh, here's the future of the franchise. Oh, everyone's dead. They're going to be evil zombies.
Yeah.
Even not knowing where that would go, or rather, where it would just not go, it was still not a particularly compelling idea to kill off so many characters like that.
Yeah, it was boring.
And it's like, well, what is this really in service of? What are we really sacrificing the last 7 games of story for? And it's this, and it's like. I feel like if it was just a fresh continuity, it wouldn't have been as bad. But it's the fact that it's erasing the past games entirely, and just saying, yeah, those completely don't matter anymore. They don't just last as a standalone thing like say Tomb Raider, when that reboots, it's just new continuity. The old ones just stand on their own.
Yeah,
it's just no. We're erasing those other games for this story, where we are so desperate to get to a point now where things are really bad that Sindel just casually kills 9 characters. When literally no other villain can get a win in the story, like a proper win.
Yeah.
It's like
or
even
if they
Shao
do, they
Kahn
just don't
can't
kill
win a
for
fight,
some reason.
But Sindel plows through 9 people. It fucking sucks.
Some of them get wins, but just don't kill. Like Ermac wins against Johnny Cage in the tournament, but for some reason is just not killed. Even though we see earlier when Katana beats someone, Shao Kahn's like, yeah, kill him, and she doesn't, and she gets in trouble. So why would Ermac not just kill Johnny Cage? There's like the answer is they don't want to kill Johnny Cage, but that's a huge plot hole. Like it's a glaring plot hole. My reason for disliking MK9, I posted a meme that is us, right? Everyone else who likes it, Mortal Kombat 9, they are all wrong. We are the right ones. It doesn't matter that we're the less opinion. We're still correct, because MK9 is standing on top of the shoulders of the classic arcade era games and calling itself tall. What few changes it does make that are original are bad and almost universally disliked. The only ones that aren't are like, oh, Smoke stays a human and Sub-Zero becomes a cyborg now. And some people didn't like the Cyber Sub-Zero thing. So
yeah, I was about to mention that too.
So they did it immediately.
So yeah, I would argue it's actually a bad story, but I knew I couldn't put that.
The thing also that you have to keep in mind is like Mortal Kombat 9 is like a more modern way to consume the original trilogy. It's like 'cause the original trilogy, all you've got are like stock footage and words and like just really really old like photos and whatnot. So this is almost like a gateway, like a way to consume like the original stuff. And it's like I feel like back then that would be like a really strong selling point. Like, oh, we never got like this kind of like angle and whatnot kind of stuff. And it's like, and nowadays I also just feel like if they really just tried their best to remake the original trilogy without adding any bullshit, like just try to be like the HD version of what happened in the story and what happens then, instead of like the Raiden time travel stuff that you need to change and ending up killing all the characters, I think it would have been way better. I think. But that part actually also does kind of like tarnishes a little bit of like, this isn't really like retail. This isn't like yes, it is a way to consume Mortal Kombat 1 through 3 and like in a bite-sized manner. But it also, there are just things in it that just doesn't happen in the original timeline. That's kind of like, and whatnot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I because I think if it had just been a fresh start, it wouldn't have been as bad. Even with the changes they did make, it that would have helped a lot. I think, not being tied down by the other games and having to ruin those games by erasing them and whatnot. Like I think some of this stuff like. We're redoing MK1 to 3. It's a fresh continuity. Some things are going to be different. Cyber Sub-Zero is going to be one of the things here. I think that could have been fine. Some things are just different here and whatever. But they had to go and tie it into the other games, and that makes all the bad decisions worse. Because it's not just another. It's not just. Because again, it's not just here's a new take. It's a replacement for the old. Like when you're replacing the old stuff, what are you replacing it with? Oh, absolute dog shit. Great, thanks. I love it.
Yeah, and keep in mind, we are three people who are just agreeing with each other. If you have like some reasonings you want to put in the comment section, like, oh, why do you
Then
think
you're
this
wrong.
game is don't stick to engagement, nice
Sonic,
talking.
Sonic, it is straight up. You know the Family Guy meme of Meg going up to going, you guys think you're better than me, and it's just that the group, they all just dress in fancy clothes. That's us three. That's the whole MK fandom. You guys think you're better than us? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Damn.
Well, there also is no universal MK fandom either. They can't agree on nothing.
No.
Sure, but I'm being serious when I say like the majority of people will say this is their favorite story mode. If you ask,
And they're
like,
wrong.
Any
Yeah.
any average MK fan.
Yeah, they're wrong.
What I'm trying to get at is I'm trying to secure it to at least mid, but the way you two are putting it, it might get lower. What do you guys think?
Do I have it in mid? Is that where I put it?
No.
You have it in mid, Trinidad.
I think
too,
mid's
yes.
fine.
No, I would say it's bad.
If there was an overrated tier, I would put it in overrated. Absolutely.
I think if it was like
Oh.
a standalone reboot, and it's like, oh, we're just starting fresh, but we're going to take inspiration from 1 to 3, then I would say mid. But because of how it affects the prior games, I feel like it has to go lower.
Okay, wait. So here's a fun fact. Currently, there is nothing in the A tier. What if I put this in the A tier and rename it to overrated?
Sure.
It's lower than mid. Okay, I like that.
Fuck MK9. And that's a controversial one. I can go fuck MK11 all day, and people go, yes, very good. Mm-hmm.
Yes, King, Slay.
Fuck M1K all day, people go, mm-hmm,
Yes,
I could-
serve.
but say about MK9, oh. See, MKX, even though like you'll get like half the audience being like, yeah, I agree. MK9, it's like, you don't touch my golden goose, how dare you? Ah! It's like, no.
I feel
You're
the
just
way
wrong.
about
I'm
MK9
correct,
story
as
fans the
always.
way I feel about MK9 gameplay fans, where they claim the story's super good, but if you ask them
Fuck
why, it's like...
Snake is so mean.
But then if you ask them, like, oh, well, what about the gameplay? And they'll tell you why they think the gameplay is good, and I swear to God, if I took half of these casual MK9 defenders saying it's the best gameplay ever, and I just watched them play arcade mode, I swear they wouldn't even be able to do one combo. I swear. They'd just be mashing buttons and go, oh my God, it's so good. Sorry. Had to throw that out there.
Secretly, dog just does not like the combat. Anyways, so
No,
Mortal
you
Kombat
can
X.
like whatever you want to like. I'm just saying, like, the same way that people blindly defend the story when it's not even an original story and the few changes it makes are bad. That's similar to how I feel about the ones who defend the gameplay so diehard. When if you even play the gameplay to an extent where you actually learn it, you're like, wow, this game has a lot of nonsense that's very unfun to be on the receiving end of. And the hitboxes are bad. Like, the meter system doesn't work right. There's so many flaws.
Got it. Anyways,
but
we gotta
yeah.
move on. We get
Yeah.
it. we know.
Okay, fine.
But we understand. Mortal Kombat X. Now this is a bit of an interesting one
Love X.
because yeah, that's what I mean. Like, dog, I know a dog actually likes Mortal Kombat X a lot, especially back in the day. Didn't you also make like a really long video defending Mortal Kombat X against like gaming sins on
Yes,
Mortal Kombat X story mode and
but
stuff?
only
Yeah.
because that Sins video was dog shit. He was making stuff up or just straight up stealing content from other videos and acting like it was his original joke. And I was like, dude, fuck this guy. Like, he's
But yeah,
such a lying fake. I was like, my God, his video sucks. Yeah.
Mortal Kombat X, in my opinion, is a story mode that gets better with time, in my opinion. Nowadays, it's so hard to get like an original Mortal Kombat story without either super references or some gigantic escalation that destroys like the galaxy and whatnot. It's like it's like Mortal Kombat X when compared to Mortal Kombat 11, Mortal Kombat 1, it's like, oh, like we can do, and also kind of an original story too. It's like with trying to move the franchise to like a more newer direction and whatnot. Now, back in the day, I will say when I went through Mortal Kombat X first, this is actually my initial thought, by the way. I was like, oh well, that wasn't better than Injustice Gods Among Us. As a kid, I was like, oh, I mean, like could have been like Injustice Gods Among Us was like a cute DC episode or like a Justice League episode that was released, whereas this is kind of just not better than that. Oh well. and I didn't really think too much about it. Like, I would think it was mid back in the day, but like I said, nowadays I kind of appreciate it as time goes on. But would I rank it higher? I would really have to replay it to like know how I feel about it. But I think it's, yeah, I think it's cute. I think it's not too shabby. Like, if you want to like generally talk about it.
It's mid. It's mid.
Mid.
Like, it has its moments, and I do applaud them actually trying something new, which you know is rare in the NetherRealm era for them to try a new idea for once.
That's what. Yes.
It's an alright little reimagining of MK4. There are certain things that I feel are a bit like the Revenants are barely in the game.
Yep.
And the fact that Melina dies having never interacted with Kitana after that first introduction scene in MK9 is fucking baffling.
Yeah.
Like, I kind of want to do a video at some point about how Kitana and Melina have barely ever interacted in anything outside of like the Malibu comics, because it's ridiculous.
It definitely, like, you guys agree Mortal Kombat X definitely got some changes midway through, right, in the story, because like we were supposed to get like Old Man Liu Kang and Kung Lao. And like we were supposed to get like the Revenants are supposed to come back, and I feel like the potential there is also very interesting too. It's like, how does Old Man Liu Kang feel about Raiden now? Like, he's back now, but it's like, will he forgive Raiden after what he did and whatnot? But it's just like, no time. They're the Revenants. They're just. It's kind of interesting. Liu Kang being
before they revealed what the plot was going to be for MKX, I had my own fan theories when they just showed that one trailer, like that one little brief gameplay snippet, you know, at that Evo or something. I had all these ideas, and it's really sad how my basic ideas feel more interesting than what they did. Like, I thought, okay, Melina is still alive. Jade, it's unclear, you know, so I think she's dead. But
she got her heart fucking pulled out in Mortal Kombat 9.
Her stomach, yeah, sorry. Yeah, I guess she was dead, but we saw maybe good guy Liu Kang and Kung Lao is what confused me, and I thought, oh, well, the Revenants are coming back then, so maybe we should let Kitana stay evil, and now Jade and Melina get a chance, is what I was to actually do stuff. You know, Jade specifically, because I feel like Melina, while being the villain, right, who wraps around Kitana most of the time, in some of the games, Melina's doing her own thing, like straight up. I don't think Jade ever has an example of, I'm doing my own thing. So it would have been cool for her to have one.
Yeah, Jade is purely a character designed to assist Kitana, Sindel in Deception, and Kotal in 11. She is... Yeah, she's very much a satellite character, and that's fine. Not every character has to have their own in-depth stories, but it would be nice for her to get a chance in the spotlight at some point. And one was probably a good chance to do that, but they kind of gave her role to Tanya, so...
Yeah, you know, yes, they did, dude.
Imagine if that was it. Imagine if they gave Tanya Jade's role, so they have to force themselves to give Jade something different next time.
So, I think everyone probably... Quick summary of why I like MKX. Like Snake said, it tries something new. Aside from Shinnok and the invasion, it's pretty much a whole brand new plot, which I enjoy. It shows what happens to these characters when they're allowed to go on their own journey in between games. So like what happened with Scorpion, what happened with Sub-Zero, what happened with, blah, blah. That's interesting. Introduces some new characters who at the time were not liked, very similar to Deception. Like everyone pretends that they were great, but back in the day, no one liked a lot of those new characters. Same situation. I think looking back on it, the only real flaw with MKX that definitely could have been fixed is spending way too much time with the new characters. I wanted to see more about the Outworld Civil War. I wanted to see a bit more, like Snake said, with the Revenants and their actual perspective on things or what they're actually doing. You know, they feel like they're just henchmen when they really should have been a huge deal for Quan Chi to have these guys under his control. You know, it should have been almost like Deadly Alliance, where he sends just Liu Kang and Kitana in their evil form and just starts killing off heroes in the background, because most heroes cannot survive this. Like, they're gonna get fucked.
Yeah.
So
I think I said this before that in a video where Liu Kang's death in Deadly Alliance was a huge deal.
Yeah.
And like, Deadly Alliance is kind of about the fact that Liu Kang was just so important and how powerful he was, and that no one else really stacks up to it. In this game, these two children can stand up to him, Kitana, Sindel, Kung Lao, and Smoke all at the same time. Not only outnumbered 5-2, but among those are some of the best fighters in all the realms, some of the most powerful characters, and somehow these two kids are holding them off. And you're like Liu Kang being evil should be a big deal.
Yeah.
But it's, I mean, there's a reason why they highlight him in the Armageddon intro, where he comes in, he's like a horror movie monster as a zombie.
Yeah.
And here it's like they were setting up that he would be a big threat, but it is a little hard to take him seriously after he got punked out consistently by Jax, and then couldn't even beat his shitty daughter.
Yeah.
And at the end of the game, it's like they're setting up him to become the emperor of like hell and stuff. And it's like, oh, okay, now Shinnok is gone. Now he has to take the mantle of being the leader of like the Netherrealm. And now, and like, oh, where could this go? You see him kind of being a badass sitting on a throne in arcade endings in hell and whatnot and stuff like that. It's like, oh, okay, this could go somewhere interesting.
What sucks too is that I had a really fun fan theory, and I was hoping that they would be setting this up, but I gave them way too much credit. I thought, oh, Liu Kang lost those fights on purpose so that Quan Chi would get defeated, which would lead to Shinnok getting killed. And now Liu Kang's in control of the Netherrealm. Turns out he was selling the whole time. He was holding back. You know? That makes really way cool, more... Actually. It could even be implied that he and the Revenants let Raiden escape and hope that he would beat Shinnok, but when he didn't, they're like, okay, here's the next heroes. We'll maybe let them get through and defeat Shinnok, you know? That's like so much more interesting than just, we suck when the writing says so. Yeah.
Oh, that's good. So it's like when you get to the scene where the kids are sneaking around, being all stealthy, and the Revenants don't notice. You have a flashback in the next game, and Liu Kang's just there, and he spots them, and then he just pretends not to, and then he's like Kung Lao smoke, let's go. You know, that would have been brilliant, to be honest.
Yes.
It would also lead to a really cool moment in story mode, maybe, where if like when they first start to attack Earth, maybe one of the combat kids runs up like, come on guys, we took him last time. Liu Kang just palms him once and he goes flying through a wall or some shit, and Liu Kang's like, no you didn't. That was complete. I was faking that whole thing. You're so fucked. Like you have no idea how fucked you are right now.
That reminds me a little bit of like the I don't know if you guys played Streets of Rage, because like in the newest game it's like one of the older bosses just comes back and they're like, oh my gosh, he's like the older boss, we gotta fight him. And then he's like, after you beat him, he's like, guys, I'm chill. I'm not like a villain anymore. And I'm also was holding back the entire time so I can say this. So they're like, oh shit. Okay. Yeah, something like that. But anyways, we're not talking about what could have been. We're talking about what is. And what is Dog likes this story. Snake thinks it's mid. I guess I would put it like...
Like I don't mean mid in a bad way. I mean like neutral. Like it has its good points. There are some really solid ideas in there. I'd even say it's on like the lower end of good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
My view on this game does fluctuate a lot over the years, as you can notice. So like I despised this at first, but now I've seen how bad it can get. I'm like, you know what? Perspective changes everything.
Exactly.
It's not as bad, but. If I was going to revisit any of these story modes and just play through them, like, I'd either go through one until like halfway through Melina's chapter and just stop, or just play this start to finish.
Yeah, I look forward to going back to this game, because I can review. I haven't made like a big review of this game yet, and that seems kind of fun. I would put it underrated, so I think, you know, balancing wise, underrated. What do you guys think?
Did you say underrated?
Yes, it's above mid and below actually good.
See, again, I don't think underrated is really the right word for it, because people... I know there's a lot of people... I know the game has a lot of haters, but the story has a lot of haters, but I think people generally do like the story.
I think people don't really care about the Mortal Kombat.
People hate the ending mostly. It's the ending that people really hate, because at the time it was not conveyed, and this was my assumption. I ended up being right about this assumption. I said, guys, I don't think that Cassie glowing green and Johnny Cage glowing green, I don't think it's a Super Saiyan transformation where they get a blind power up. I think it is legit the kryptonite to Shinnok and other god form beings, and that ended up being true. So I was like, okay, good, that makes more sense. At least they foreshadow it. At least they foreshadow it, you know, a little bit. Yep. Unlike in MK11 when there's just a fusion dance and it's like, by the way, fusions have been possible this whole time. Why'd I never do it? Fuck off.
Well, I guess, you know, if he fuses with Liu Kang, he would be giving up his own, more, like, himself and whatnot. So, well, if that was such a big case, why doesn't he just fuse with Shang Tsung Quan Chi? Anyways, we'll get to Mortal Kombat 11. Point is, I don't really think Mortal Kombat X is regarded that highly. Like, people just kind of regard it being like, oh, it happened. But that's why I think it's okay to put it underrated, personally. It's between the three of us, like, combining our opinions, and that's why I think, like, around underrated, I don't think it's too bad.
I think if we rename the tier, that would be fine. I just don't think. I really. Maybe just being pedantic, but I really think underrated is the wrong word for it. A lot of people really like it. Like, Deadly Alliance, the story is underrated. Because people don't really praise it that much when it really does deserve it. Whereas MKX, people generally see the positives, I feel.
Well, I personally do actually think, well, I know there's some people who really do like it. I also do feel like a majority of people do find it to be just kind of there. Like, they don't really talk about it that often. They just think, oh, it happens.
Some people consider MKX the worst story, which is mind-boggling to me. But some people do think, no, MK11 is actually fun. MKX is dumb because combat kids, and they really are that simple. These are the Marvel fans. And I don't mean just Marvel Comics. I mean the MCU fans that blindly think every new MCU film is the best thing ever. That's them. That's those people.
So, Dog, you be our tiebreaker then. Would you put this in underrated or mid? Oh, actually, I think
MKX, I put it in actually good. I'd put it in underrated if that tier didn't exist. Then yes, I put it in underrated. But I would say that MKX is close to being peak, but just not quite there. Which is what the actually good tier is kind of for.
Let's call it actually good then.
Oh, you want to put... Okay. All right then.
Yeah, because when
then.
I said mid, I didn't mean mid in a bad way. It's just... It was fine, but...
Fair enough.
I can definitely applaud the new ideas, that they tried some new ideas. They moved the characters forward. They pushed Johnny Cage into what became like the best written arc of the series.
True.
Scorpion got some decent development. There was good stuff there.
That same Mortal Kombat creator said that, actually. The same guy I talked about earlier that said that MK2 doesn't need to exist. He said, the one thing I'll always appreciate about NetherRealm's Mortal Kombat is they gave Johnny Cage one of the best arcs ever. Even MK9, if you count it as like his arrogance arc where he gets humbled and leads into his more chill personality in MKX and his more mature personality, it's one of the best arcs in like fiction for Mortal Kombat. And I'm like, oh.
Are you talking about Tactical Bacon Productions?
Oh, that was him. You're right, but no, that's not who I was talking about originally. My bad.
He did make that video. He
did, yes.
And yeah, Johnny might be the best in in the 3 games. He might be the best in MKX. I feel like his depiction and his arc.
To be fair, before I learned the full story of Mortal Kombat 3, I didn't know Johnny Cage was that amazing. His story in 3 is also incredible. Well, the whole thing combined, like 3 trilogy, like it's all really good.
Yeah.
Like, for anyone watching not aware, Johnny Cage dies and then is still able to be in his body because the realms are out of flux, so he's not able to go to heaven. So he goes back in his own body to keep fighting and is told by Raiden that if they succeed, he will be forced to go to the afterlife, and he still keeps fighting anyway. It's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's try to finish up this tier list because I feel like we are getting pretty long in this video.
It's your fault, Sonic. You insist on these being so long.
We do. I feel like maybe we should have separated this video because like I underestimated how long we usually talk about these, but it is very fun.
Go on, move on.
Mortal Kombat 11.
Trash. Absolute dog shit. Dog water, piece of shit, terrible. There's like 2 good scenes, the rest of it is garbo. And this is not counting Aftermath, by the way. Aftermath is a separate thing.
Yes, we're not counting Aftermath.
MK11, base game, pure original story mode, trash. Fucking trash.
Can I add? I bet you got these in the comments, Dog. Do you remember what you said when you were shit talking Mortal Kombat 11?
What I said specifically? I said tons of plot holes. It's all really stupid. Chronic is terrible, like the worst villain ever, and the time travel shenanigans make no sense. Like, nothing about it has any sort of through line. The one defense I've seen for Mortal Kombat 11 is, well, at least it's fun. At least it's fun. And I'm like, is it though? Is it though?
No.
See, when Jade went into that like Kotal, the dumbest thing about MK11 story-wise, it's such a minor thing, but I hate it, is that when they do show the characters actually fighting, it's the most boring mocap horseshit. I don't know why I'm getting so salty all of a sudden in this podcast, but I'm just getting really salty.
Trust me, we always love shit talking.
Like when Jade does the dumb American Gladiator stuff when she's being chased by the Tarkatans, and I'm like, why is she doing this? Why is she jumping over this fire pit and doing like a chain pull? She could just go purple or teleport and get past, or nitro kick 30 people and get the hell out of here. Why is she running like a regular human? It's so stupid.
Yep. Powers don't exist in the cutscenes until
powers don't exist in the cutscenes. Yep.
Like Raiden historically in fight scenes has like teleported once, did an electric thing once.
True.
It's mostly just, I'm going to fight hand to hand. It's like, Raiden, you're a god, just blast the fuckers to oblivion.
So, Dog, I just want to emphasize, in your video, when you're when you were shit talking Mortal Kombat 11, you brought up all those things, and I remember you said they gave us Twindell in this. Now, that's how bad this is. Like, they fucking gave us Twindell in this, so this is going to the trash tier. And I'm like,
that's not Aftermath.
And then you go to, and then you talk about Aftermath, and then you brought up Twindell again.
Yeah.
And I was like, but, look, I agree that's shit, but I mean, like, that's not.
Keep in mind, he's like MK11 is trash. It gave us Twindell, and then he goes to the thing that actually gave us Twindell and rank it higher.
See, what's funny is I thought a lot of people were going to point that out because I only included the Twindell line to be funny and just throw one last like bit of shade at the game.
Oh, you did?
Yeah,
Okay,
and then I knew it was going to conflict with Aftermath, but I was waiting for people to call me out on that in the comments. I don't think anyone has until you. And I was waiting for more people to bring that up.
I had to leave a reptile comment because you know me, but I didn't bring that up. I wasn't going to be nitpicky in the comment section. Personally, actually, you're gonna see me say this in my chapter 15 video. Basically, the more I think about it, I'm like, look, I love shit talking Mortal Kombat 11. I've made so many videos about it, but I actually really don't have anything positive to say about that game. Like, even the things that are like maybe objectively are good that happens in the story mode, I don't care. Like, I'm just like, I don't feel anything, even for the positive things. I just feel hate.
It's like that challenge, right? Say something nice about this game. I will say one thing nice. I like that Baraka. They at least pretended that Baraka and his army were necessary. They clearly weren't, but they at least pretended they were.
You know, I'll give them this too, because when that happened, I told myself they're gonna be nice to Baraka here, and then they're gonna just do shit with him in the next games or whatever happens after this. And I was wrong. They treated him pretty good in Mortal Kombat 1. I mean, they fucking killed thousands of Tarkans in the Battle of the Realms after that, but still.
And then Liu Kang made them into a plague in his new era.
And that improved his character, so I appreciate that.
Yeah, but it made all the other Tarkatans get screwed. It's like, yeah, hey guys, your culture, your species, in my timeline, you're fucking cancer. Like, you're actually cancer.
I mean, in fairness, they were originally referred to as mutants, so it's entirely possible that they were always some kind of weird mutation that kind of became a community. But, you know, it's hard to say until the developers speak out about it. But yeah, MK11, I would say it has some good moments, like you know, some moments that are really well done, like when Sonya dies, Cassie returns, and like Johnny, you know, hugs her.
Yes,
good moments.
I would say chapter 1 is probably like the best chapter. Thinking back at it.
Oh yeah, so there's Hanzo and his discussion with his past self. That's good. Now there are good moments here and there, right? But like. Most of it, the story is just built on horrifically heavy contrivance. It just it does not work. The villain is stupid.
Time travel.
It's absolutely atrocious. The standout thing that's to come from this story mode, I think we can all agree was a universal good. Other than that, it's absolute dog water. This is the story mode that gave us KK in a wheelchair.
Yes,
yep.
Absolutely. Yep, that's it. That's
the expense of
So I think Golden Peak, to be honest. I mean, I don't think you can get any better than that.
Damn, Shaolin Monks and Mortal Kombat 11 in Peak. I never expected that. But yeah, look, we complain about Mortal Kombat 11 all the time. So just watch our videos and you'll get like more info about it. It is amazing how we can come up with more things to shit talk about the story every time we go back to it. But yeah, trash tier.
Literally every time you go back to it, you find more reasons to get mad. And then I wanted to also mention, by the way, with the exception of a couple characters, don't forget that MK11 also gave us the worst costume designs for almost every character. Like, most of them are so bad.
Luckily, we're not judging that, but yeah.
Even Chronica, their new character, is the most bland blah I've ever seen.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you meant
It's
design.
also kind of ironic how they designed the first female boss, and they made someone that no female would ever want to cosplay. Good job, guys. Good job. Well done. Anyway.
to be fair, I don't think every boss in MK is someone that wants to really want to cosplay. I don't think people are really
I
want
would cosplay on Naga if I could.
I was gonna say Blaze.
I would cosplay Blaze if I could.
I guess if it's a cheap costume and whatnot. Anyways,
I do think that Stick is right. That Blaze would have been cooler if he was actually like the old games, like human size and not this giant behemoth, because that's too common with what they were doing in all the 3D games, you know, except for the Deadly Alliance when there was no boss. But Shao Kahn's always been huge. Then you have Onaga, who's even bigger, and then you have
Shao Kahn.
Oh my God, Blaze, he's so big. Chronica walks in as a skyscraper. Oh my god! Which, to be
Giant
fair,
lady.
Cetrion kind of does that. She gets really big. So
That's true.
I mean, you say that, but that's Battle of the Realms. That's the one being.
true.
oh, like even bigger. Ah!
I still can't believe they did that with the one being. I still can't believe it.
Yeah.
Aftermath. Now, this one I thought was extremely funny. I'm at dog's placement. It's like, really, Chona Dog, really.
Because it's fascinating how this thing has like some of like these. I mean, I did that video a few years ago. How the best chapter of MK11 overall was the Fujin chapter,
Yes.
Yeah.
and I still stand by that. And it's
Yeah.
immediately followed by the Twindell reveal. Now, the chapter itself, a lot of people find it fun. I do appreciate that there is a chapter where the bad guys get to win some fights for fucking once.
Yes.
That's good.
Yes.
But it's predicated on the Twindell thing, which is just fucking horrendous. But then we've also got Shang Tsung being like a cool, charismatic dude the whole time, and it's like
Yes.
it's this weird up and down of extremes. It's like some of the extremes of the whole thing. I mean, I appreciate Chronica getting punked out and then having a villain with class as the final boss.
I would even actually say like the ending was pretty good too. Like the whole reveal, like Liu Kang allowed Shang
Yeah.
Tsung to win. I don't think that's too bad. It's like, oh, you could always have shown up, but you actually allowed this whole thing to happen so that I could win and power up this crown.
Yeah.
And then you
I
get to
think-
choose which ending you want and whatnot. Like, that's pretty cool. Like, I do agree with that.
I think for as much as I hate the Twindell thing, I think it's overall more good stuff in Aftermath compared to bad stuff. And
Definitely.
I think most of the bad stuff in the story mode is inherited from MK11, which, because of the way we're judging it, this kind of needs to be treated somewhat separately. So a lot of the bad is inherited from that. Then you have to decide whether that means that that stuff doesn't count, or whether it's like, well, they could have changed it or something. But yeah, I think overall, in isolation, Aftermath is actually really solid. I know that actually good. Yes, it is actually good. But as the second tier, it deserves to go in the second
I'm
tier
just saying,
overall.
we're complimenting the things we like, but, like, there's still a lot of pretty lame-ass things that happen. It's like, oh, how do they
Yeah.
get captured by Liu Kang? One fucking amulet. Oh, perfectly gets us to Sindel. Hey, how are we gonna convince, like, the good guys that we need to revive Sindel? I know, how about we beat the shit out of all our friends, and it's all gonna be fine. It's all gonna be fine, because it was all for the greater good. If at the end, we just need an excuse to
Yeah.
fucking beat the shit out of all these characters and whatnot. Like, there's still some pretty cringe and
but
funny bad things in there.
But every time you'd look at someone and go, oh, that's really bad, that's like a big contrivance. Shang Tsung is there and he says something or he smiles and you're like, oh, I can't see him at you.
Yeah, it's Shang-Tsung, yes. Yeah, and
Like,
the thing is
it's
also...
like Karatagawa really is Atlas, like holding up like the entire franchise
yeah.
at this point, like But no, and then Alan Lee comes in and gives him a bit of help, like I'm here too because I'm also really good at Shang Tsung.
Another dumb thing, in my opinion, it's so minor, but it happens twice in the game, so it's worth making fun of. Sindel is fighting Cetrion, which is, for one thing, it's kind of low-key cool. They're implying that Sindel is so powerful she can at least hold off Cetrion. That's kind of
She has
badass.
Nightwolf as well. Nightwolf's helping her.
Oh, true.
Nightwolf was a cameo fighter, that's right.
But sorry, what I meant was, so here's the dumb part though. At one point, Cetrion lifts her into the air, those little tentacle things, and then Sindel breaks free, but she falls and goes and hits the ground. I'm like, what the fuck? She can fly. Out of all the characters to not fall on their back.
And you remember, powers don't exist until they need to.
It's so annoying how, like, whoever made the story did not know anyone's power sets.
And then also, like, my biggest... one of my favorite videos I made is the Chronica Part 2 video, which I'm like, I don't like Chronica in Mortal Kombat 11 because of what she is and whatnot, but it's just like, whatever. But in Part 2, it's like, oh my gosh, you are such an incompetent fucking idiot in Part 2. It's like, you know you failed. You know the plan didn't work. So what do? The exact same fucking thing. Oh my gosh, you are actually dumbass. Holy shit.
That's why it would have
Like,
been so much better if Chronica was like a neutral character that is just like a force of nature. She just resets the timeline, or maybe she just watches it. And the plot, instead of the plot being about her doing things, the plot revolves around, the villains have learned this thing exists. They've learned about Chronica. They've learned about the Hourglass. They're trying to now kill her and get control of it, or convince her, whatever. And the good guys are likewise trying to get to her or help her from being killed and corrupted, whatever. That's way more interesting to have the good and the bad guys fighting over her in the hourglass than to have her be the villain. It makes no sense. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how I would, because like I remember Aftermath back in the day, I still thought it was really bad, like it's still really shit, but there's like a lot of fun moments, and thinking back on it, like those fun moments are taking over a bit in this discussion for my feelings for it, but I'm still just kind of like I do think it's better than MK11 for sure, but I think that's it in terms of like how I feel personally about Aftermath. It's like,
I think you need to ask yourself this question, Sonic. Imagine you were in a room, and right in front of you was Kari Hiroyuki Tagawa. Could you look that man in the face and say Aftermath story is bad?
I'm not gonna tell him that. What the fuck?
Exactly. You wouldn't tell him that. You wouldn't tell him it's bad. Therefore, Sonic.
To be fair, if I wasn't in a room with Ed Boon, I wouldn't dare say a lot of his story modes are bad. You know, I wouldn't be like, yo, fucking MK9 is shit, bro.
I'd be nice about it, but I would tell him that yes, the story modes are subpar.
Look, I would be like, Kari Tagawa, your performance, excellent, absolutely amazing. Okay, bye. And whatnot.
Well, you know that Ed Boon watches all of our videos, so you have been telling him to his face anyway.
Dog, are you going to still put it in actually good tier though? That's my question. Is that still where you stand with that?
Aftermath? I mean, maybe if there's an overrated tier, I'd put Aftermath in overrated, because I do think one of the reasons people glaze it so hard is because it came after the terrible default story. So by comparison, it seems so good. I almost wish, I said before that I almost wish Aftermath was the original story mode and the DLC was the good guy story mode, where like the fusion happens and they save the day and it's all good. Because that makes more sense than doing it like triple. Like where it's a double twist, that's a bit harder to swallow narratively, but...
Yeah, it's kind of interesting because, like, in Star Wars analogies, it's like, because people like, remember Snake, you said, like, oh, 9x10 is kind of like the new trilogy. But Aftermath kind of just feels like, okay, Rise of Skywalker sucks ass. What if we go back and change some shit in it? What if we do some, like, funny things and whatnot into it? So, I mean, that sounds kind of fun, actually, and whatnot, because that was already really a trash story mode. Like, that's kind of how I feel a little bit about it. By the way, we do have an overrated tier, and the only thing in is MK9. I don't mind putting it in there, actually.
I'm okay with Aftermath going there.
What do you think, Snake?
Sure.
All right.
I think this is on the upper end, which would imply it's more overrated, but I feel like, but really what I mean is it's better than MK9.
Ooh. Interesting take there. Okay.
No, I'm not saying it's more overrated. I'm just saying that is unfortunately how that would be perceived by its position, but I think it needs to be clear that this is better than MK9.
Yes, I think that is quite an interesting take there. Anyways, so next up we have Onslaught. The funny thing is, me and Dog, we can only give opinions. We really can't say the final say. We can't really criticize much about it.
No.
The only thing that I will bring up is I enjoyed when the Force Snake was talking about those final chapters in the podcast. It's so hilariously, like, just exaggerative. It's like, oh, Shang Tsung just grabs the shit that Sonya threw off the side of the cliff, becomes all powerful with Quan Chi, mind controls a bunch of characters, and then the Elder Gods get fucking blasted. They defeat them. Shinnok then takes it, mind controls all the characters, and then kills Shinnok and whatnot. I'm just like, this is bad, but it is pretty funny though.
Yeah, like it's fun.
Yeah. However, I think you still get the final say. So, what do you think, Snake?
I think it's readily apparent that things did not work out the way it was planned. Not just because of the hard pivot in the focus halfway through, but also because, like, we got 2 chapters together at the end, and, like, certain chapters in the latter half didn't even get a single CGI animated cutscene, whereas, like, the first chapter got, like, 6 of them. Like, clearly, things were going wrong over the course of development, and Warner Bros. Were being fucky duckies, and so... And so... And then, I mean, the characters like Sub-Zero, Liu Kang, Kung Lao, they didn't get chapters. It's wild, the character got left out of being the focus. And like, so you can tell, and then there's a question of, well, do you then have sympathy for it, or do you have to go, well, that's how it is, so you have to judge it on that? I think overall it's fine. It was helped by getting those Chronicle chapters, which aren't part of the same continuity, but, you know, they add some extra little fun story bits, like Peacemaker and Johnny Cage having their little team up and stuff like that. There's some great stuff in those other ones, but I guess they could be considered closer to like non-canon arcade endings than part of the main story.
Just one thing I will say, it did conclude the story. Like, it's not like half abandoned.
Yes.
Like, they actually got to end this story, which is not a bad thing in these sort of things.
Yeah. So what are our tiers from top to bottom?
Trash, really bad, overrated, mid, underrated, actually good, peak.
I guess I'll have to say mid.
Okay.
I will say, I like how in the Onslaught cutscenes, they actually use their powers. That's nice.
Yeah, you do see that sometimes.
I guess so. Like
Raiden does some really creative stuff,
fights.
and it's funny to see Raiden use a teleport effectively against Shinnok in that one scene where Shinnok's like, "Oh, I hate you," and tries to hit him with the his Biden blast, but it misses because Raiden teleports and just goes Uno reverse on him from behind.
Oh shit, my phone like just went a little bit sideways there. Okay, MK1. So M1K. The funny thing is, actually, Dog puts it in really bad, and I'm pretty sure me and Snake would put it higher than that.
It depends, I think, on what you... Because if you're looking at more from the perspective of everything up to like the middle of Melina's chapter is actually pretty solid, then you look at them, there's that perspective. Or the other is, it was good, but then they ruined it. So it's a question of, does the last few chapters ruin all that came before? And so it would seem that for Dog that is the case, whereas Sonic and I probably would disagree on that.
Well, to be honest with you, I do sometimes make choices based on how I think the audience will react, and I know if I put it in actually good or mid, I'd probably get flamed and be constantly defending myself in the comments. So I was like, yeah. I would say, in my personal opinion, it's closer to mid or maybe even underrated, because I don't think MK1's story is bad until like the final third of it, maybe. And even then, it's not garbage. It's just, it has the same problems that MK1 kind of has, where it's garbage. Like you made a couple of really bad choices writing wise, but I don't think it undermines the entire thing.
Well, the thing is, it kind of does, because it's kind of just like, well, now the multiverse is introduced. Does the original continuity
The multiverse is
matter?
stupid. I agree. Multiverse is dumb.
Like that.
Although the only good thing about multiverse is that implies the original timeline is still out there somewhere, I guess.
Maybe. The funny thing is, it's like, because I am a person who I actually find like the game starts going downhill from the middle. Of course, it goes really downhill from the multiverse stuff, but I already start kind of feeling from like the Sub-Zero chapter, and like, so it's like I think Snake likes it even more than me, just a little bit. But the thing is, I really did like that first 7 chapters. Like, I would even say like those first 7 chapters are like the best thing NRS has written. Like, that's how much I like them. So like, I don't mind putting it around mid too, if that's like the implication around it. Because it's kind of annoying, because it's like, I like that first half and I really fucking despise that second half. So it's kind of like, well, what does this mean? Like, what would this rating be for like me? Because would it be mid? Well, it's not always mid. It's like kind of like good, bad, good, bad, good, bad, and that's why I kind of say it's like mid in that aspect.
Well, the funny thing is, this one actually is, I feel, underrated, because I think everyone kind of focuses on the ending parts and doesn't really think about the actual writing of the stuff from before that, because there's some really good stuff there.
Yes.
So, well, I'm not saying it's like amazing or anything, but it's one of the better stories NetherRealm has written, and again, people don't give it its dues for that good part, I feel.
Yeah.
So I would personally say underrated.
I like that. What do you think, Doug?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. This will be kind of a hot. This will be the hot take here.
Here's the question though. This tier list does not include Khaos Reigns.
I noticed that, Dog. You completely didn't even talk about Khaos Reigns.
Yeah, I didn't feel like it. Also, there's not a separate. Was there a separate box art for it? I'm not sure if they put it down there.
They didn't. I did put it one for you in this picture.
I would put Khaos Reigns in probably trash or pretty bad. I think it's really bad, because it doesn't even accomplish the whole reason to do that story. Because the entire point of the whole Khaos Reigns is that, oh, this is Havoc's vision or Havoc's timeline, so there should be a lot of changes, and there's really not a ton. And then some of the characters you see aren't even from his timeline. I think, like, isn't it implied that maybe Rain and Tanya are from a different one? I can't remember.
Yeah. Johnny, World War II.
So
Johnny,
that's already Johnny too. It's kind of dumb that it's him. They should have stuck with just Chaos Realm, And also, they should have not had Cyrax and Sector still be women, because that makes no sense.
Yeah.
Like, there's little things that are really dumb.
He also did the whole Kuai Liang is Scorpion now.
Yeah, that was also dumb.
Like,
Him not being a Chaos guy was also a dumb twist. Like, that he's not actually into Chaos was really stupid. Why'd they do that?
Yeah.
Wait, what? You mean like the Titan Havoc?
Yeah, they made Titan Havoc not
he
actually
just-
a fan of Chaos. He wants it to go the same way every time.
Well, he's like, it's his chaos, but Noob Saibot's like, you're a hypocrite. That's not chaos. It is lame. Like, yes.
No, there is no his Chaos. There's only Chaos. It's one of those very well defined concepts.
Yeah.
There is no his Chaos.
What's it called?
Yeah.
So like, I will talk about the DLC Chaos Reigns in like my video like next year probably at this point. But I have had some ideas of what I'm gonna write. But one thing is for certain that this is gonna be said in the video too. I think Chaos Reigns is like the worst thing NRS has ever done. Like, I think this game is simultaneously so bad and also simultaneously so nothing. Like, it gives us so many bad things and it also gives us so many It's like half the story.
I've described it in the past as basically being like an ascended invasion season. Because it really doesn't do anything of note. It doesn't really move the story forward in any notable way, the way that Aftermath did. And it doesn't even have, like, Aftermath has a lot of nice little moments and funny character beats and stuff like that. Like, Shang Tsung and Fujin are great. Nightwolf's kind of there, but those two are great. And then, a lot of people like the way Sindel and Shao get their moments. Like, there's noteworthy stuff, but here it's just boring Scorpion, boring Sector, boring Cyrax, a random alternate Johnny Cage, boring alternate Rain, boring alternate Tanya, and then Noob Saibot is just like, I'm just gonna beat everyone up at the end. It's trash. It's nothing.
Somebody described that middle section where they're in the Chaos Realm like a D&D section. Like, we're here now. How do we progress the plot? Oh, Johnny Cage shows up. All right, I guess we're gonna fight here. Then Emperor Rain shows up and he gives more information to go to the Chaos Coliseum. So we go there. Roll for initiative. The critical fail, so you get grabbed by Kenshin now, and now you fight in the Coliseum. It's like, it feels like a fucking D&D session if you really think about it.
Yeah.
It's like things just happen because we need to move the plot. We need to move this D&D session forward. I'm like, wow, I
This
never
is awful.
thought of it that way, but yeah, that kind of makes sense. And even like the things that I like about Chaos Reigns, there's always like a caveat with it. Because like, I think I felt like Emperor Tanya Rain was cool. I think that was an interesting concept. But should I like them? Are they going to ever do anything interesting with these characters ever again? It's like there's caveats. It's like it's really hard to even find things to compliment about Chaos Reigns.
It's weird how they chose Chaos but then didn't do anything chaotic. It's really weird.
Their chaos is so lame.
They could have had so many fun things.
itself-
Like, they could have made it to where maybe Melina's the rational one and Katana's psycho. Like, just random funny stuff like that. And they didn't do anything.
Yeah. Like the story itself wouldn't really change all that much if it was just literally main timeline Havoc has shown up. The only thing that would really change is they wouldn't have any duplicates of any characters, so his minions would be... You won't be able to use the same characters for his minions, and that's it. But unless he's like, he's sheltering Shao Kahn and General Shao and his guys. Like, it would be very easy to repurpose the story as just like a really low stakes thing. So, like, what was the point of the multiverse angle?
Like what Dog said, it's like you should have just kept it in the multiverse and like instead of like the Cyber Lin Kuei shenanigans and whatnot. But in my opinion, it's like either do the multiverse stuff or just don't. Just focus on Cyber Lin Kuei.
Yeah.
Just focus on Lin Kuei plot, and they have both of them mishmashed, and they just both don't work. It's just like, even if it's a low stakes story, if it's not multiverse, I would really have not in mind. I would have preferred that. But it's like it's a multiverse story and it's low stakes, and that ending that just kind of just, okay, we're done. No, we solved it. Everything's good. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it.
We won. Don't worry. It's like, wow.
Havoc disappears off screen with no word about what happened.
Yeah.
We don't even get a
really does feel
verbal
like-
disclaimer of what happened with him.
It really felt like we lacked that last chapter.
Yeah. Consider, remember, in Aftermath, Shiva goes down, and we didn't even know she was dead until Warner Bros. Put out like a poll asking about your favorite death in the story. There's more to go off there than there is with the main villain of this.
Yep.
That alone puts this in fucking trash dog shit tier.
Yep.
Yeah, take
And
that.
like I said, I think this is the worst thing NRS has written. Like that's how bad I think it is.
Yeah.
It's remarkably bad.
Like you don't even get hype moments and aura. You just get nothing.
You know what's also
my
worth
gosh,
trashing?
the
Even when you
dragon!
first see Chaos Realm, right? When, Sector walks through the portal or whatever to chase after Bihan, and it's just a bunch of, like...
What?
It's just a poverty-built, like, village. It's not even chaotic. It's just poor people living.
Hey, don't forget,
Yeah.
there's like the water going upside down. Whoa!
Oh, I guess that is
And
true.
then
There's
it's
water
like-
flowing the wrong way. I forgot about that.
They saw
Which is the-
snails, like big
that's the
old
only-
alien creatures and whatnot.
For anyone wondering why that's like, it's sad they didn't, add context to that. Water is what they worship in Chaos Realm, and we never
Yeah.
even get that mentioned.
The only time they mention it is an intro dialogue, but yeah, this is like
That doesn't count.
I
That
think-
doesn't count.
exactly. Yep.
I think out of all of us, the one who probably had the most fun at all at any moment of this whole thing was Sonic when he saw that main timeline reptile was gonna do something. He's there in the shot.
That's
It's like,
it.
oh yeah, my boy's here, and that's it.
Yep. Hey, there he is with Ashra.
Like a
Oh my
tiny
gosh.
little blip on the radar.
And then
trash.
the multiversal version of Reptile gets his nut like punched, and he actually blocks it. That's so cool. Wow, this should be in peak. Now that I think of it, this is peak. Actually, this is actually proper in.
No, Sonic.
So yeah, trash
It
tier.
does not go in peak. He needs his own tier of poopy butt chungus.
Just below. Okay, so that leaves our final game, and we got let's talk about this final game, MK versus DC. Before we talk about this final game, I remember this was about a month ago, I suppose, and Tronerdog was looking for some hot takes, and when he was asking for like opinions about hot takes, Snake gave. Well, this was the statement that Snake gave out.
MK vs DCU has the best cinematic story mode in the series. All of the weird quirks like character chapters and having contrived fights to fill the quota are justified by narrative devices, power fluctuation, combat rage. These quirks remain all the way up to M1K, but the stories never try to justify them, leaving us with characters being great fighters for 4 consecutive fights and losing every encounter before and after, and pointless filler fights, all with no justification.
So that was one of the big things that, in your opinion, you would say, yeah, you said it's the best cinematic story mode in the series. So would you say like all the NRS stories?
Now that's in terms of like the structure of the mode, like not the actual story itself.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
But moment to moment where it's like, okay, why the character's fighting, it is justified instead of being like, oh, Johnny Cage, shut the hell up or I'll break your spine. Oh, Jade just walked into the scene for arbitrarily. I guess I'm going to fight her as well. You don't really get that stuff, at least not nearly to the same extent as you do in the
I mean,
other
you say
games.
that, but that's literally how Kano gets introduced. It's like after Flash beats up Cowman, Kano's like, hey, what's up, guys? I'm Kano. Oh, hey, what's
Sure.
up? Where do we go?
but it's not nearly as common.
No, I would say that's one positive that I do agree with about this game. It's like, oh, that's a cute way to explain why characters can fight each other, and like characters who should be weaker actually can like defeat Superman and whatnot. And like you said, it's like how they explains like why good guys fight good guys because it's like the combat rage and all that kind of stuff. Has the best so wait, but are you still keeping that statement that you said that MK vs DCU has the best cinematic story mode in the series?
Yes.
Okay, is there anything else you liked about MK versus DC?
But that's just the structure. We're not talking about the plot there. This and
Isn't
that
that-
two different things.
I mean, that's part of the plot, right? Like how these characters fight, or like how like
I mean,
a reasoning.
It does
why...
affect the plot, but I was focused on the structure. In terms of the actual plot, it's perfectly serviceable. I don't think there's any particular big weaknesses. I mean, we know that some stuff got cut. We know Katana was supposed to get a chapter, and then that didn't
interesting.
happen. I think there's supposed to be another DC character to get one. I forget who though.
I think Harley was DLC. I've heard about that, but yeah.
But yeah, so we know some stuff got cut, but it's not too noticeable when you're playing through the story. It just feels a bit odd that Katana's gone for a while. Then she just knows about Dark Khan. It's like it's that's fine. It's not a big deal. I think the plot is about what you would expect for MK and DC.
Like a crossover game.
I do think the combat rage actually, because you can contrast this. Because I did a video about this. Contrast it with Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, where
Ah.
you don't have as many plot devices to make the characters fight each other. So it's the good guys versus the bad guys. So you don't really get that many interesting matchups. Whereas here it's almost exclusively MK characters fighting DC characters. Well, not almost exclusively, but a lot of it is that these characters fighting the other side. So you get these dream matchups all the time. So it's not just Lex is going to be fighting the good guys. It's Lex is going to fight Scorpion and Sub-Zero.
Yeah.
You know, Superman is going to fight these characters. You know, you get that stuff which you don't in MVC Infinite, whereas here you do, and I think that's good. I just think that overall, the actual overall narrative, it's just about what you'd expect, and it's perfectly serviceable. It's not bad or anything. It doesn't stand out as especially good, but I think, especially for a first attempt, I think they did a good job.
That's fair. It is like genuinely one of their first attempts in like trying to do like a fighting game like cinematic story mode. So like there definitely are some wonky things and whatnot, and I could understand that, especially when fighting game cinematic story modes aren't really common back in the day too. So I am way more judgmental than Snake. There was you guys remember Triple KO, this podcast that existed back in the day, which unfortunately is not there anymore. So there was an episode where they had Throggy on, and they just started talking about fighting game story modes. And one of the last things they talked about was like, what's your favorite fighting game story mode? And then they also talked about what's like the worst fighting game story mode. And when they talk about favorites, it's like, I think they brought like KOF and Fatal Fury. It's like, oh, it's pretty cool. I watched a series. I watched Throggy's entire like retrospective because of that. When they talked about the worst fighting game story modes, they brought up two, and I felt so validated when they said this: Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite and MK vs. DC. This entire story is just a method for all the MK characters and all the DC characters to have that epic finale clash. We need to get to this point. Like, that's like the entire basis of this entire story. Everything else that happens before that is just stupid methods for these characters to like find information, make dumb mistakes, padding, and just trying their best to get to this end point. And it's like, once I realized about that, it's just like, oh, yeah, it's just like a lot of these things, it's just like we need to be dumb for the sake of like continuing this plot and stuff. It's just like, that's like the entire story mode. From like the first get-go of the chapter, it's like, oh, what's going on? People are disappearing, Liu Kang says. I need to go investigate. I'm going to go to this random graveyard because it's one of the stages, and I notice it's snowing, which means Sub-Zero is here, and I found him. Turns out, nope, no issue with that. Okay, and Scorpion shows up. Oh, and I got to fight him. Oh, then Flash shows up, and I got to fight him. It's like, in my opinion, Mortal Kombat vs. DC is like barely functional as like a story mode. Like, I'm not even kidding when I say this. Mortal Kombat 11 sucks. I really hate this. Mortal Kombat 11 at least feels like a story. MK vs. DC is like barely there. That's how bad I feel like that story is. It's just like it is trying to pad out this entire thing to get to that ending clash. Basically.
The one cool thing about MK vs. DC is that you get to see both perspectives when you play through from both halves of the story mode, which is cool. I guess that's never been done before or ever again, actually. And while the power fluctuation does help explain the fights and stuff, it also means that these dream matchups don't really matter because it all just comes down to what the plot wants, you know, like literally. My favorite example is what Snake made fun of when he shocks lightning and it does nothing. And Batman goes, oh, I have insulated armor, so your lightning doesn't work. And it's like, okay, well, Raiden could just grab your exposed face and go, just fucking like fry you and it'll still be over, you know? Or my favorite example is when Scorpion and Superman fight. And even though Scorpion wins the fight, Superman just gets up and it's like he's not even phased. Scorpion like kicks him, he goes, ah, and just doesn't come back for the rest of that scene. Despite Superman moving at like Mach 10 and he can fly. If anybody has air control, it's Superman.
Like Dog's issue right now, he's talking about things like these characters should be overpowered. As like when Sonya defeated Green Lantern and Shazam, like that's ridiculous. But I'm a little bit more forgiving because it's like that's the point of this game. It's like, oh, the ridiculous power levels are all fluctuating. Even though of course
no. I wasn't even referring to the power there. I was referring to how Superman can still fly super fast. So even if you can't win the fight, he should still be back in that scene immediately. What's the justification for him staying off screen?
He's knocked out.
He's knocked out?
He got kicked by. Yeah.
He goes, ah, and then like gravity does him in.
Yeah.
The
I guess
takeaway, the takeaway from all this is that, in regards to MK versus DCU, Sonic needs to rely on other people to make the arguments for him, so he can parrot them against me, while I make my own arguments, which means I win by default.
Yes.
You stole from
Everything
the podcast.
was my own opinion.
No,
I didn't
no.
even listen to
Then
whatever
what-
the fucking
it
opinion
appealed
that
to
they
us-
were saying. They were
Then
just saying
why
it was
did you bring it up? I felt so validated, so I stole it. I see what you're doing, Sonic. Cheating. I think
Sonic's
Boy,
a
I
big
should have
fat phony.
loved
It's the best
when
one.
the Mortal Kombat characters all got together and it's like, okay, we got to go stop Dark Khan, and Quan Chi's like, not yet. We got to eliminate their forces. So Shang Tsung and Liu Kang go to the Fortress of Solitude to like kill Green Lantern, and I think it was Superman or some shit. And they go there, and Shang Tsung beats the shit out of Green Lantern, beats the shit out of Liu Kang, beats the shit out of Superman, and they're like, our objective is complete. Then they go back. And it was a fucking waste of time because they show up at the end of Clash anyways. It's like, what the fuck is the point of that whole fucking chapter? This whole game is so much of just this, and also like the PG like no kill rule like does affect a lot of these characters. So it's like Joker's being a little annoying bitch next to Scorpion, and Scorpion's just like, I can't kill him because of the PG rating.
Also,
Bye.
don't forget that weird stinger that keeps going when it should have just ended, where Darkseid shows up, right? And it could be a cool stinger, like cliffhanger ending. Who are you? Darkseid. But instead, it just cuts to him being imprisoned and like a total bitch. And I'm like, damn, you're gonna do Darkseid like that?
Oh, and I also said this in my video, but it's like, the whole foundation of the story and why it can go on like this is nobody ever questioning the opposite side. Nobody ever questioning, what allegiances are you? Who do you work with? Even though there's a couple scenes where it's like Wonder Woman fucking puts like the lasso of truth on Sub-Zero, and then she's like, who are you working for? You are the intruders. And Wonder Woman's like, who fucking cares? it's like nobody decides to just like ask a simple question until the very end, when finally Superman's like, you don't work for them. Raiden's like, neither do you, and that's it. Game's over.
I'd just like to say, I did want to do a bit where you would say, like, you know, make your defense about that one chapter and say it's trash, and I go, yeah, okay, fair enough. But you kept rabbiting on, so I didn't get a chance. Fuck you, Sonic.
What
You
were you
ruined
gonna
my
say?
bit.
My bad.
I was gonna say, yeah, fair enough, makes sense.
But
I was gonna completely crumble and just say, yeah, you're right. But you just kept going on. You kept rabbiting on. You wouldn't stop, and that was it.
The Kunlun witch hat there.
You ruined my bit, Sonic, and for that I will now destroy you by saying, wait, no, you control the tier, don't you? Fuck, so it's a matter of
You know, maybe it's peak. Maybe all this bad things actually wrap it down to being peak.
You should have been like, now I'm destroying the podcast. We just explode.
Look, all I'm saying is, like, I just find this to be one of the worst story modes in fighting game history, really. And not necessarily, it's like, look, there's a difference between something sucking and something sucking because of corporate reasonings. Like, I would love to hate Mortal Kombat 11 because of, like, corporate reasonings and whatnot. This is just kind of bad, and, like, it doesn't really function as a really good story mode, in my opinion. But as much as I want to put this, like, above MK11, I just think this is the worst. And Snake is mid, and what about you, dog?
With MK versus DC? Didn't I have it in pretty bad?
Yes.
Yeah, I'd
So
say pretty bad.
Okay,
I don't know
so
why you're
guess
asking
it's
me
just-
when I already had my opinion.
You change your opinion sometimes. You know,
That's true, I do
just messing
sometimes.
around.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, so
I find it strange that the games Sonic has gone the hardest against are the ones that don't feature Reptile. I find that suspect.
Yeah, well, we all know he's super biased. He's in my
Whoa,
comment
whoa, whoa,
section
whoa,
every
whoa,
time
whoa,
LOL
shout-
reptile meme. Bye.
Hey, Shaolin monks with one of the peak reptile designs. I put that in trash. So I'm sorry that argument has worked there. Sorry.
Oh, just fades away.
Okay, so holy shit, we've finally done it.
I'm
Let me
actually
screenshot.
exhausted.
Yeah, same.
Yeah,
so I'm just
this-
gonna screenshot this.
I think this is probably going to end up being like 2 parts.
I'm in
one
pain.
for just this and one for the main episode.
I physically ache.
This is the definite Combat Kings story tier list. I think it's pretty decent overall. I think.
I wish it. I guess that the left to right doesn't matter too much, because if left to right did matter, we should definitely put Khaos Reigns in front of MK11. It's that bad.
No, left or right doesn't matter. It's just where I put
Okay,
the.
gotcha.
Yeah.
The thing is, It bugs me how like peak is at the bottom and trash is at the top. It's such a weird way of doing it.
Hey, I just copied Trono Dog's list originally, okay? So that's, you know, you want to find someone to blame. But yes, that's our list, baby.
I was gonna
And
do a
our
joke, but it'll take too long.
And yeah, I guess if I'm splitting this to two halves, this isn't the Halloween special anymore.
Yeah.
So, sorry, Pochita, you need to leave. But hey, I can still proudly wear this nice Four Snakes costume, which I will be wearing next week to show my friends at the Digimon convention. So I think that's gonna be pretty cool.
Oh hell yeah!
Nice.
Pretty fun stuff.
Oh well. First we need to just go.
How do we end it?
This segment of the podcast took so long to do. We were rabbiting on for so long. It's been split into a separate part. So we're gonna end this episode here, and then go and see the tier list thing when that goes up, probably in a couple of days.
No, I'm gonna do it 2 weeks later, brother. I need to edit my own videos. Like
I mean, I had an idea.
to up to this.
I had a funny idea for what you could do, Sonic. You could cut to like a good point. Like I guess before we start doing the story mode tier list, but make sure to like cut it after a joke where we're all laughing, and then just cut to like the slow violin build up horror music, and just randomly cut to that part of Snake being like, you know what, Sonic, you've pissed me off so much, and now in utter revenge, you just like the words next time phase in as he's saying this, and just cut to black, like poof. And it's like next time on Combat Kings.
Like a cliffhanger.
Yeah, just out of nowhere, it'd be so sick.
Or alternatively, you could play Dog and his terrible impression of me, that awful English accent, and play the horror music stingle with that, because that was horrifying, Dog.
I was about
What
to
the
say,
fuck?
yeah, that was
How
your
could you do
impression
me
of
so
the Four
dirty like that?
Snake.
I wasn't really trying to do an impression. I was just,
Yes, you were. You did an English accent.
oh, there's an English accent in your voice crack. Chip cheerio.
Yes.
Imagine if I'm like, hey guys, this is Trono Dog. I'm talking like this right now. All this
Hey
sort of
man,
stuff.
I'm
not even
American.
trying to.
I like burgers and titties.
good. I
I'm
like that.
American.
That's awesome.
That's it. That's how we're ending the episode.
I sure love peanut butter.
Hey guys, I'm Sonic. I talk really fast and really loud. Wow, I'm LOL so random. I love Scalies. Oh my god. That's my impression
Literally
of
Sonic now. I'm literally Sonic the Hedgehog now. Apparently,
Yeah, I was gonna say it's like a Sonic bit.
that's kind of funny.